What? Oh shit, that's loud. That's loud. That hurts my own ears. That hurts my own ears. I couldn't even hear myself speak. That was loud. That one's loud. Anyways, welcome back to another Chaturday, ladies and gentlemen. Good Lord, bro, says Fabled of Man. Yeah, that was loud. That was loud. I was expecting that to be more equivalent to like
bestiality's fine.
Well, now I need to bump that one up.
Bestiality's fine.
Or maybe you know, I thought it was going to be on par with that. That actually like blew out my eardrums when I did the applause. But welcome. How you doing? I definitely wasn't late. I didn't get sidetracked by scrolling through X. Why would I ever do that? Continues to definitely not look on X at people posting shit and seeing if there's any other new news that we could potentially go over for today's stream. Definitely does not do that. Definitely I'm not doing that. Never in a million years would I be doing that, guys. But anyways, guys, I've been waiting for today ever since last Friday, because we're gonna be reacting to something today. I have some other stuff as well. Obviously, we have this I can't speak, or actually I still can't say her name. We have Saruei DMCA stuff. We have some other things to go over. Primarily, there's more updates within like the Fillion getting, well, canceled. We got that. And if you guys were paying attention to today, obviously you saw over on my YouTube channel, I've been posting now like clips from the actual stream itself. I'm going to be doing that right now for content. They're just going to be full-length clips, not really edited. It's a whole lot easier to do because I prefer to stream. I prefer to do this. And I don't really have any time to edit a whole lot. There will be edited videos coming back eventually. But right now I like doing this, and this is more fun for me. Anyways, I do see you, Fabled Man. I see you, Legatus, and as more people roll in, we will do more stuff. But before we get too far into anything, I have to do this, okay? I have to do this. I has to do this. It's much easier, to be fair. It is easier to just stream than edited videos. Plus, I just don't have the time for edited videos anymore. I have to essentially spend all my time editing a video to put out the next day, and they're like 6-7 minutes. It's tiresome. But I saw this, okay? I saw this before stream. Yesterday, we talked about the new King of the Hill season that came out. And if you watched yesterday's stream, you would have seen that I was very positive on the new season. There are definitely meh episodes. There is definitely some problems I have with the series, but all in all, I was pretty freaking happy with it. I'm not opposed to more coming out. I'm not opposed to having another season. In fact, I would actually gladly have another season of the new King of the Hill. And I say all this because I'm over here. By the way, shout out to, I'm not going to be able to say your name over on Twitch, but shout out to you, buddy. Did you, the new King of the Hill reboot? Did I like it? I liked it. I did like it. I see you on Twitch. I'm not smart enough to say your name. Anyways, though, I say all this because I view the show as being a 6 or 7 out of 10. I probably lean more towards a 6. I could be negotiated to maybe a 6.5 to even a 7 out of 10, considering everything. I think it is all around decent, if not good. And I say that because I love King of the Hill. I watch King of the Hill religiously. If it was up to me, I'd have King of the Hill on right back here while I streamed, so I can look over there and go like, oh, I know that episode, I know that episode, I know that episode, I know that episode, blah, 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 because I just know them so well. It's not a 10 out of 10 show. Static says he wants to give it a 7. 6 to 7 is where I'm at right now. 6.5 maybe is probably peak, right where it is now. And I'm saying this because IGN gave their review a 10 out of 10. Season 14 recaptures the unassuming and understated brilliance of the previous seasons. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Literally does not do any of that. I'm sorry, that is a flat out lie, and yes, the check must have done good. I'm over here liking the show, mind you. No. None of that exists. In fact, some of the stuff I say is not as good as what came before. Dale, primarily because Dale voice actor, they're not even trying to hide the fact that it's a different guy. He has an entirely different voice. Okay, why don't we do that? Hank does act differently from time to time. Some of the things don't make sense that Hank would do. But motherfuckers, it doesn't recapture what came before. It alters some things here or there, but you do get some things that came before, but it's not all the way through. By the way, I kind of want to try these skewers that Bobby makes. In fact, this image here, we haven't even had this image in the show yet. Hank and Bobby cooking, we haven't had this yet. They hinted at it, but we didn't see it. I'd like to see it. All while doubling down on the heart that helped make the show the touchstone it is now. If I'm gonna be honest, it took them a while to recapture that heart. You don't get that heart right away. In fact, that heart doesn't come back until much later. I'd say about episode, we did it last night, about episode 4, maybe episode 5 is where it like really starts to get back to kind of what it was. It still wasn't as good. Not only does it harken back to the show's glory days, but it also modernizes its characters in a manner that feels true to who we know them to be. Only one I disagree with is Hank. That's the only one I disagree with here. Everybody else, yeah. Yeah, actually, they modernize them. And I'm using that in the actual positive term, not in the term that Hollywood likes to say, that we're making it for a modern audience. No, it's like a lot of the other characters feel like this is who they would act like now. Like, there's not a whole lot of difference. So, like, when they're modernizing them, they basically stay the same. You only watch the literal? I'd say watch it all the way through. Watch it all the way through. Shout out to you, Alpha Omega. Shout out. I'm not opposed to this thing. They nailed the kids. Oh, 100%. The only thing that's weird is Connie being a whore. But outside of her, you know, liking to... Yeah. Pretty accurate. Yeah. Hey, the Wayfarer. How are you guys? How are you guys? How are you? But I just wanted to get that one out of the way real quick because before I do my streams, I always like to have like that little nudge to invite you guys all in here. What the fuck did I do? That's for the Fillion thing for later on if we get to that, if we have time, because we still need to start this one off. Because guys, we gonna be here for a long run. We're gonna be here for the long run because it's finally here. It is finally here. And I'm starting the recording now. But it's finally here, chat. It's finally here. Mama Oko put out "They Lied to You About Sinder" video. Now, for those of you who are watching this on the replay or whatever, or in chat right now, let me remind you about the Sinder drama before we get into this and who Sinder was. Because I can come over here. This is Sinder. At one point in time, she was a massive indie VTuber, super popular, super famous, and well, this image here, like the breast size wasn't just on, well, the model. Let's say that she was very, very, very well endowed and everybody loved it. And she was a super popular person that people adored. She was on top of the world at one point in time. She was rivaling individuals like Iron Mouse, like Zentreya, any of the top tier VTubers out there. She was up there side by side. And overnight, yeah, it basically all went away after Nanolith here, okay? Nanolith here dropped a Google Docu. Yeah, she dropped the first Google Docu, which is right here, which was the terminating my work with Sinder. through this Google Doc, we discovered that Sinder VTuber was manipulative, gaslighting, and was attempting to weaponize her model artist to basically shut out all of her competition, including her own close friends. On top of that, she was trying to cut out people like Silverveil, Spite, all sorts of other VTubers, and weaponize it, all while saying it was just business. We also discovered that her manager was also her boyfriend. There was a lot of gaslighting manipulation going on. We figured out just how awful she truly was. Bao the VTuber also got involved in all this, Bao the whale, and pushed back on some things that Sinder was also trying to do. This led to Sinder dropping her infamous apology letter that, if people were around to read this, and I did the streams on this, it was awful. She basically admitted to everything and then threw her boyfriend under the bus. I'm not kidding. In this document, I don't remember where it was, she outright says that her boyfriend, who was her manager, Red, influenced her to have a very toxic business mindset. And that's why she did a lot of the things that she did. But on the same time, this was all Red's fault. So she admitted to literally doing everything that she was accused of. Blacklisting her best friends, trying to shut people down. And when it comes to Nanolus, I bring this up again, guys, okay? Is this Google Docu? No, but I bring this up again because Nanolus was one of the largest VTuber model creators. Very influential in every model she made. These are not tiny people right here. These are very, very large streamers. You got Mousy, you got Zentreya, you got Buff Pup. I can never remember her name, but she's Sinder, Snuffy, Silverveil, obviously Sinder again. These are super fucking influential people, super big people that Nanolus was making models for, and Sinder tried to basically hold her to herself, make her exclusive without giving her exclusivity, gaslit her, did all sorts of heinous things to her. And she got called out for that, okay? A lot of people got up in this. And the reason I'm bringing this back is because Mama Oko here has put out this lovely video that he has been working on for the past 3 months. Has been promising to give this video out. That dispels everything we know about the Sinder drama and says that it was all a lie and a psyop. Now, I don't believe that, okay? I don't believe that one little bit. Mainly because and I'm not trying to do the whole like, hey, massive amounts of people agree with this, so it must be true thing. But quite literally, everybody looked over the evidence and deduced that Sinder was a bad person. Now, Mama Oko and her best friend, Mizu, whatever, apparently had evidence that disproved that and said that it was all just fake the entire time. And there was no real evidence that Sinder did what was accused of her, even though she admitted to it. But nobody's ever seen this evidence till now. That's why I'm doing this. That's why we're going over this video. And it might be an hour and a half long, which, Jesus Christ, what the heck's wrong with you? And I'm going to be playing at about 1.25 speed. But my God, I've been waiting for this. I've been waiting for this for 3 months at this point in time. And I'm here. Let's go. This is going to be a long one, guys. So sit back, relax, and let's see what the schizos have to say.
Reason for why I started working on this video oddly has nothing to do with Sinder, Shylily, or any of the other creators.
Then why make it at all? I already went over this on another stream. I never got it. Like, this intro is bad, guys. This intro is bad. It all has to hinder around those other creators. So if you're not making this video about because of all the other creators that came and got involved and, you know, tore down Sinder, for lack of a better term here, why the heck are you making this video at all? It is all about them. I mean, it's even called They Lied. So why are you even coming out here saying it's not about them when it quite literally is about them? It's titled They Lied. So you can't say it's not about them when it is about them.
That will be featured in this video. No, instead, my studies into this entire situation were halted when another very prominent creator began receiving a massive swath of backlash. His entire image slowly chopped down as a weave of lies he told began to be unraveled. his situation has already been covered by multiple other people in great detail.
And I do have some stuff on Pirate Software that I want to get to, hopefully this Saturday. That'll be a big Pirate Software day. I hope to do that because I got a lot of stuff there. And I want to, because I really don't know a whole lot.
So I don't feel I need to spend 5 or so minutes recapping what has already been said about him.
But why bring him up?
The lesson that I will echo, however, is that creators lie, either by fake pedigree or simply by using their clout, something that is often cashed in like a check to create false narratives, spin lies, and captivate an audience into believing whatever they say. Today,
and I'm pausing this again, mainly because you're trying to do the whole they lied, okay? You're trying to insinuate that everybody who came up here lied, okay? That is a big part about that, is they lied. They lied. They lied. You are trying to say that as a matter of fact. And again, this was all within your whole preview, so I already know what's going to happen next. But for those of you who weren't here for me to go over the preview, let's see how they elevate this.
Today I'd like to try and share what I believe is another similar situation. One where the creators, using their clout and shaky at best evidence, built a narrative of manipulation, abuse, and blacklisting. A narrative that was unchallenged by their fans, cheered on by news and commentary channels, and sold to you as fact.
Because she admitted to it. Like, that little bit that she admitted to it kind of disproves your entire video. Like, I could go over the docu again. I might actually... I think I made my Sinder stuff actually public. I might have to go over the docu again where she admitted to doing it. So...
But is it fact? Or could it be that everything you were told 3 months ago was a lie? Join me as I attempt to comb through those 3 or so months of research done by myself and multiple other people in an attempt to understand the entirety of the situation and why I personally think they lied to you about.
Hey! That's that key phrase right there. I personally think. That's an opinion phrase. Realize what's been happening so far. Realize what's been happening so far. You titled it, They Lied. Now you're saying that this video isn't inspired by any of those people, even though it's titled, They Lied. That's a fact statement as well, but now you're hiding behind the opinion. I went over this previously. You're already manipulating the audience right there. Why make the video if it's not inspired by any of the people in the video? It has to be. Then you wouldn't make the video. Simultaneously, you're titling it outright, They Lied. Now you're hiding behind the opinion that they might have lied, and your opinion is that they lied. Those are two different standards there. One's a fact-based, one's an opinion-based. Your opinion can be literally anything and can't be challenged. I could challenge it, but you're not going to budge on your opinion. The facts matter, and the facts are, right now, Sinder admitted to doing everything. I want to know what your entire get-through around this is. How do you disprove her own admission of guilt? That is something that I need you to do. And I've never once been able to see any of this evidence that you guys have claimed to have for 3 months. Not one bit. But you're so adamant on it. So let's see what you have, okay, Oko?
Oh, Sinder.
The Charizard on blast, Charizard V-card doing the oh, like, how dare you sit there and pretend to be some box legendary of something that you didn't create?
Wait, no! You're doing this this is out of context already. The reason why she was so fucking pissed off was because Sinder rescheduled her appearance on a Numi concert to go around and try to promote V-cards, which she wasn't there to create. She just got into gamer subs and said that that's super important. Shy Lily here was more involved with V-cards than Sinder, but Sinder outright ditched on Numi, who was stranded in New York to promote V-cards. After she promised Numi she would go to New York and help out with a concert. That's why fucking Shy Lily got so pissed. God damn, you're already doing the out of context shit.
Oh, disgusting. Again, if you cope by burning your merch, I am judging. You cope the way you want to cope. I cope through memes and making fun of things. That also isn't fucking perfect.
You do not know how many times.
Why the fuck are you trying to drag her? You have to be very fucking careful on this one. And again, people are going to be asking, why am I bringing this up? All this came out after Bao was getting serious surgery to help fight a debilitating issue she has, in which I don't remember the technical term for it, but she gets massively awful depression around the time of her monthlies. I know there's an actual term for it, and she was getting surgery to help with all that. That's when this all went down. So you got to be fucking careful here. You got to be fucking careful, Oko. Because if you're going to say all the feelings that she's having here are fucking lies and it's manipulation, you got to be fucking careful. Because this was a fucking hard thing to listen to. You have to be one heartless twat to think that she was lying through this.
I was told to put in my Google Doc the fact that you had a significant other, and no matter
bloody depression. There's an actual like term for it, Alpha Omega. I don't remember what it is, but it's like super debilitating. And it's awful. By the way, Bao literally just said she was being nice to Sinder even in her own Google Doc. Like, okay, she chose to be nice to Sinder in her own Google Doc in which she could tear her down. I think this isn't what you think is going on here.
how many people told me to put it in, and how stupid I would be to not put it in. I could not bring myself to put it in, because I knew what that would do to your reputation.
Wow. Wow, what was said there? Man, that shows that these people were very bad and gaslighters. All the friends wanted to tear her down, and yet Bao still was like, I couldn't do that because it would destroy your reputation and your career. Because you were my fucking friend. Everybody else was freaking done with your shit, and Bao still couldn't do that. Man, that would have been nice to actually include that. Holy shit, I didn't realize how many clips I was actually going to need to already fight this. We're 3 minutes in, by the way. We're 3 fucking minutes in and already have 2 very out of context clips there. Nice going, Oko. Nanolus, okay. Silvervale. Are you seriously going to go off on Silvervale? Especially right now? I think Silvervale was a bit unhinged, but holy shit. Like, Silvervale was scared because it was coming off that Sinder was stalking Silvervale and was getting mad that Silvervale's mom wasn't retweeting shit. She was constantly pestering Silvervale to do collabs, so you better be careful here.
Now, before we start on this adventure, let me first explain who I am. I am a drama reporter. I spend a lot of my time...
No, you're a drama farmer. That's what you are. You aren't a reporter. You're also an unhinged V-tweeter. That's what you are, Oko. I've seen enough of you over on Twitter. You're unhinged. And we went over the Rima video, which I might have to cut out and make its own video.
Listening to dramatic events, both in the content creator realm and in the real world itself. Along with that, I do actively study and research human emotions and psychology.
No, you don't. You literally don't. Because you think what Shy Lily did was trying to tear down... Because legitimately, going through the turn of events, Nanolus came to Shy Lily because Nanolus was... No, actually, Shy Lily went to Nanolus because Nanolus was being very dodgy with Shy Lily. Nanolus finally confessed everything that was going on to Shy Lily. Shy Lily looked at the documents and said, you need to go around to people and admit what's going on here because this is bad. And Shy Lily did the real friend move, which was go over to her friends and inform them what was going on behind the scenes and how backstabby and see you next Tuesday-ish Sinder was being. That's what a friend would do. So if you're going to say you study human psychology at all, you don't understand basic friend behavior there. Adam would come to me if he found out that anybody was trying to stab me in my back. I would go to Static if I found out anybody was trying to stab Static in the back. Same with Gal, same with anybody, because that's what friends fucking do. And you coming out here already saying this, you don't know what friendships do. I've seen enough of how you interact online. You don't know basic human interactions or human psychology.
I study why humans decide to take the actions they do, see if I can break it down and understand it, and then teach it to my own audience for their and my own edification.
You need to do a whole lot better job.
While I am not in any way an expert in the field of human actions and
You're a retard.
emotions, or have a psychology degree, I will say that the time I've spent studying in those fields allows me to feel like I have a better understanding of the topic that we'll be covering today.
No, you don't. I don't play this card often because I find it to be super fucking cringe and stupid, and I don't like it. I'm autistic, chat. And people watching this, I'm clinically autistic. I was diagnosed with Asperger's back when I was a third grader. I've been through therapy sessions for many, many years. I've been forced to go to many therapy camps even for kids with like autism, ADHD, or things like that. I've done that most of my life. Through that, I have actually deduced how humans actually interact. I've actually engaged with people at this level. I actually understand more human emotion than most people realize. I just myself personally have a hard time engaging with it. I understand it after years of fucking therapy and sessions to deal with this and looking at it at a first-hand level. I'm no expert. I can just figure it out as I go along. That's why I like people watching, because I can deduce what actual humans do, for lack of a better term. I'm more understanding of the human emotions than you, Oko. I've seen how you've interacted. I've seen how you've engaged. You don't. And you coming out here go like, I think I'm at the most forefront to do this. No, a basic human understanding would dictate anything that's going on here is pretty cut and dry. Manipulation, gaslighting, and you had an individual who really loved her friends come out and say, F it, I'm jumping on that top rope with a goddamn chair in my arms to take you down. That makes perfect sense here. Studying is great and all, but have they spent any time around actual people? I don't think so. Shut up, Static. Yingling.
And give quite the unprofessional opinion on the matter. With that explanation out of the way, let us turn to the main topic today.
Professional opinion.
That being Sinder herself and Redacted, or henceforth Red, and some of the alleged crimes that people say they both have committed.
No, they... Wait, crimes? No, they gaslit and backstabbed their friends.
Will say right off the bat, to quell a lot of people's anger, that Sinder has admitted to some of the things listed in the Google.
No, she basically admitted to literally everything and then threw her boyfriend Red under the bus. So you can't come out here and say she admitted to some. No, she admitted to literally everything and then threw Red under the bus. You can't get around that. Also, this dude is who presents himself as a woman on the internet. You're going to tell me that they are emotionally stable? It is a Japanese VTuber thing. I'm going to be honest there, chat. But that's Japanese.
Google Docs that we will be going over. I will not say she is an innocent bystander, like some people seem to be portraying it. That is retarded. No, instead, I wish to break down what we know based on fact, what can be proven off of the information we have been given, and what should be discarded as hearsay.
Okay. We'll play this game. We'll play this game as hearsay, fact, blah blah blah. Because I'm willing to bet you $500, chat. $500. Actually, no. I will fucking gift people. I will gift out 5 memberships tonight. Totally free. Totally fucking free. Tonight. If I can disprove everything with one video. Because I got a very strong video. And if you're going to count that video as hearsay, chat, I got some news for you. This person actually knew them in person. This person, the video I have saved has recognized that they have has come out and admitted that they knew Cinder and Red in person. They knew how they interacted. They saw it. Because fun fact, all these people knew each other in person, and there's one that has some fun information that I'm willing to bet you $500 and 5 memberships in chat he doesn't bring up.
To now piss off the other end of the spectrum that might watch this,
He does use an AI voice changer, Static.
do believe that what we have been given in the form of 5 Google Docs from the main party, along with 2 videos from 2 of the alleged victims, and many different
Alleged victims, they are the victims. They are. He admitted to victimizing them.
streams, pictures, and tweets, a lot of what we see is hearsay, unsubstantiated claims based off of quote-unquote feelings and, quote, things that you only would know if you were friends with Cinder. My goal, if anything,
Things you would only know if you were friends with Cinder. These people were friends with Cinder. Bao and Cinder went to TwitchCon together multiple occasions. They knew each other in person. They went to birthday parties together in Vegas. They knew each other as real-life individuals and behind the scenes. You can't discredit any of that. You have to take that into account when you are engaging with this topic. Not admitting that these people were friends that went to Japan together, different conventions together, it went to birthday parties together, went to parties together, did all sorts of shit together behind the scenes. If you disconnect that, your entire argument here is now null and void. All these people have engaged together personally behind the scenes. To ignore any of that is disservice to anything that you are reporting on. That is a fact that you must inject into this. Without that, you're just speaking nonsense. $5 says again, they don't include that.
is to try and clear the air on and separate both fact and hearsay for you to make a choice on what you think is right based on the evidence we have here. If anything changes, or if Cinder comes back, pause for continuity's sake. As of writing this video, Cinder has allegedly made a $6,666 donation.
That was her, and I gave her a clap, okay?
To the Immunodeficiency Foundation for Iron Mouse's charity. While I am not 100% sold on this is her, quote-unquote, coming back, it could also may or may not be her. It is just something that people have observed on Tiltify. I'm adding this just for timeline's sake.
There's no reason to add that. There wasn't. That was retarded.
If anything changes, if Cinder comes back and offers more information that can be used as evidence for her innocence, I do plan to make some form of follow-up. The same will also be given for the alleged victims of Cinder as well. If they choose after this video to offer up more factual information that would substantially change this video's original meaning, I will make a follow-up video.
You're never gonna get any more. They've all dropped this whole thing because it's long since in the past, but you want them to bring up more. For crying out loud, Oko went on a fucking tirade on Saturday when Shy Lily came out and said that Nanolist made her new model. You're not getting more.
Not a comment, but a video. I wanted to start this section by outlining the crimes that the original Google Docs mentioned and break them down for people. I'll also be using the 2 videos by both Bao the Whale and Shy Lily for a majority of this, as well as anything else I feel will add to the claims made by them.
So you're not... Okay, so I win. Chat, you guys are going to get 5 free memberships tonight because if what he just said is true, I have one video that disproves his entire video out the gate.
In the original Google Doc that was published by Nanolist and co-written by those who knew English better, she raised the following concerns.
Co-written by those who knew English better because, reminder chat, Nanolist doesn't speak English naturally. That's your second language. Actually, maybe third language. So it's actually easier to gaslight somebody that doesn't speak English as your first language if English is your first language. It's actually a whole lot more intelligent to manipulate and gaslight them. That's also basic human understanding of both dialogue, psychology, and manipulation tactics. It is super fucking easy to do that because they don't know what it is that you're saying. They don't know what it is that you're doing. And it's just simple. It would be so easy to manipulate literally anybody by using words that they don't fully grasp or understand. That's not rocket science there either, but that's basic human understanding of language.
Concerns about Red and Cinder's behavior. The first being the slandering of other creators. This includes people like Bow the Whale, Shy Lily, Silverveil, and a couple others. The second crime being exclusivity and the potential blacklisting of others.
You mean people that she admitted to doing?
Through asking Nano to cancel artwork or models with other creators like Bow or Lily or Silverveil or others. The third crime being that of ascribing a value to Nanoliss's work by saying that her models and art lost value the more the people commissioned her. Finally, I also wished to include the crime of Sinder knowing everything that was going on, as this does become a big connection in the entirety of the situation.
The problem is, like, she admitted to all these. So, like, what the fuck is your even video about? Like, here's the biggest problem, chat. Seriously, here's the biggest problem with anything that she's gonna bring up, or he's gonna bring up. Like, fucking Oko. Admitted to this, admitted to this, admitted to this. If we have evidence to support that she should have known, and there's no evidence to disprove that she didn't know. Like, all these things she admitted to. Like, what are you trying to do here? Are you gonna go on this entire nonsensical thing of just trying to disprove things that she admitted to? Because if so, sorry, there's a fucking video. There's an entire doc that you even admitted that she admitted to shit.
I think this is going to be the most controversial thing for me to break down, so I spent a considerable amount of time thinking about how I wanted to address this. Side note, I will be trying to keep the DMs more straightforward, since a lot of the DMs in the Nanolist doc are not in a concise timeline. Some are recent, some are a year, or even 2 years old.
Because they were examples, they weren't an actual timeline, you dimwit.
I've done my best to keep the DMs straightforward and give you the dates as seen in the DMs so that you can understand when they happen. We'll tackle the slandering of other creators first. It is worth noting that slander is a very specific term that I want.
What do you mean by slander, mind you? Like seriously, I don't remember any. Well, the closest thing to slander that comes up in the video from my personal point of view was what she said about Bao, because in the documents, she openly said that Bao was jealous and was manipulative and was trying to basically hoard one of their editors because of a music video that they made that did better than a music video Bao made. Which the editor came out and disproved literally all that. So if you're not even going to include that, well, okay, then I don't know what other slander's in here. Maybe the fact that they felt that Shy Lily was being more evasive, but the thing is, Shy Lily was upset after what happened between her, Sinder and Numi. So yeah, Shy Lily was pissed off. So I don't know what all you have here. So seriously, I get that I keep pausing, but like my brain's trying to like play along, trying to follow along. The problem is I already know what's there. I've already covered it on multiple other occasions, and nothing here makes any sense.
To make sure the audience understands before we move forward. Google's definition from
Oh my
Oxford Languages
fucking god, nobody gives a fuck what Google's definition is, you stupid bitch.
Defines it as, quote, the action or crime of making a...
I'm sorry for going on the ad hominem attack, but god damn it, just get into the fucking point. Stop with all this bullshit about, well, Google defines it like this, and I'm trying to be super serious and super serial here and be very on top of literally everything here. No. Everybody gets what slander is, but nobody accused her of slandering anybody. People just accused her of being a bad fucking friend and being very manipulative behind the scenes. Why do we have to do this entire thing of slander? Because that wasn't even a claim that was brought up until you brought this up. So, seriously, let's move along.
False spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. There are some key things that have to fit in that definition. Otherwise, it cannot be...
He has fucking made his own fucking argument to then destroy his own fucking argument. He's basically strawmanning the entire situation. Nobody made these arguments, and if you find like 1 or 2 people on Twitter that made the fucking argument, okay, I don't really give a shit. None of the bigger people actually made the argument that she slandered them. All the arguments that were going around were she was being a bad friend and was being very manipulative and see you next Tuesday-ish behind the goddamn scene.
classified as slander. First, it does have to be false in its nature, otherwise it can't be slander. Then, it is just a true statement. For example, let's say I committed a crime.
I don't need an example, Oko. Okay, Jesus Christ. Okay, I'm speeding this shit up. I'm speeding this shit up 1.5.
Am arrested, serve my time, and then come back into society. It would for sure suck if years down the line, after I've committed myself and repaid my debt to society, someone used this information on me to talk about me in a bad light or tried to keep me from business opportunities in
I'm
the
going
future.
as fast
Now,
as I fucking can.
it does suck if people use my past experiences and say things about me to try and change my perception of who I am right now. But is that a crime? Well, it depends then on what the purpose.
Holy shit. I don't give a fuck. Get into the meat and potatoes. Holy shit.
Behind the saying of these statements are. And at that point, it can potentially lead into job or work interference. But I feel like that's too deep for this video. My point is to make sure we understand what can and can't be counted as slander. Also, side note, and really this is just an autistic hair trigger of mine,
I could tell that you're autistic right here.
slander has to be spoken orally. Otherwise, it is liable.
I want to scream. I want to fucking scream. I want to fucking scream. I want to 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 scream. Jesus Christ, get on with it!
Going back to Red and Nano, the slander mentioned in the beginning mostly revolves around Bao the Whale allegedly stealing an editor from Sinder.
That wasn't even true. The editor literally came out and said that that wasn't true. Mind you, there was not, that wasn't what went down there. That wasn't anything that happened there. Sinder was accusing Bao of thinking that they were stealing an editor. That never happened. That editor worked with Bao. That was an actual fact, and the editor came out and disproved everything. If you're not going to bring that little editor note in, again, your entire video is null and void. If you're not going to bring in what the editor said, you're fucked.
Starting off in the Nanolist Google Doc DMs on 1/15/25 around 8:29 p.m., we will start off with Nanolist saying, OFC. I wanted to understand it better, especially if I cancel her for the second time, LOL. Redacted would reply by saying, well, with blank, she's been given a lot of bias and priority at GS, sometimes over Sinder, and we can't really confront them about it, and plus, she's gone 3D lately. Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while. She hijacked our YouTube editor a while ago and is constantly picking up artists that we work with. We've gotten to know her better by being friends with her, but she really rubs us the wrong way with everything that she does. We wanted to try and safeguard our most important artist from her, since she's already taken our editor. And I don't mean taken like he doesn't work with us anymore. He does. But he has to dedicate time for her now, and sometimes that gets in the way of our projects. Also, one of Bao's MV editors is the one that did the Boss Rush MV, and we're 99% sure she told him not to do any more with us. But like, model art is the most important thing. That is a VTuber's image. Further down in the images, only 8 minutes later, Red continues on by saying, okay, but like, let me tell you the tea about the MV thing. Bao had original songs last year that had MVs by her editor, and the songs flopped. Her editor met us at TwitchCon and was saying he'd love to work with us, practically jumping through hoops to get something planned. We managed to have him squeeze in the Boss Rush MV between his work with Bao. Boss Rush's song blows up, and he's credited as the editor. I ask him when he's free to do the next project. All of a sudden, he changes his mind and is only working with Bao going forward. No explanation. There's some context missing since we know how Bao is behind the scenes, but basically we don't have an MV editor for our next Boss Rush project. We think Bao got pissed that her editor did an original song MV for her friends without her knowing, and it did 100 times better than her original songs last year, that she locked him up so no one else could work with him, and then had him make it public on Twitter that he was only working with her going forward, like a literal announcement tweet. Now, she's barking up the tree of one of our live 2D animators. So like, and you, and a nano model. It's so annoying, I don't know, man. She has a way of guilt-tripping people to get her way. Now, is this slander?
Literally, yes. Especially because the editor came out and disproved everything that was said there. So if you're not going to bring up what the editor said, then you're fucking lying.
Could be. I mean, Red speaks as if...
Wait, what? What?
To get her way. Now, is this slander? Could be.
Could be? Could be? Could be? I fucking sped through You doing this whole entire shit of what is slander, what is liable, what is all this stuff, just for you to come here and do this whole fucking, what a fucking insane jump through hoop argument that nobody fucking made but you right now to disprove your own argument. All to just have you ultimately say, it could be slander, it could be. Fuck off. Literally, what the literal fuck? Holy shit. How long was this entire thing? Okay, this started 8:39, we're at 13:07. We're at 13:07. So why is he doing this? Because he believes so well that everybody was fucking shit during the goddamn Sinder drama. And he wants to finally come out here and admit, this is why. Have everybody just give him a round of applause and praise that he just proved it all, and everybody is now just gonna admit that everybody was piles of garbage, even though, what? Why? That started literally at 8 something, okay? This all literally started about 8:44, somewhere 8:39, somewhere in that general vicinity, okay? We're at 13:07. That was 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, over 5 minutes, around 5 minutes of fucking time dedicated to could be, fuck off.
I mean, Red speaks as if he and allegedly Cinder knows the true intentions of Bao the Whale based off of the feelings that is being shared. The statement, quote, Bao has been getting on our nerves for a while, followed up by, quote, she hijacked our YouTube editor and is constantly picking up artists that we worked with, unquote, to me shows that Cinder, and by extension Red, view Bao as encroaching on people that they depend upon for their work.
That's a holy shit. You're gonna do this. You're not gonna bring up the editor doc. You're not gonna bring up the editor docky that disproved everything that they just said. You're not. You're not gonna do that shit. Oh shit, your video shit. Your video is literal garbage, Oko. I hope you see this because I want you to know if you don't have that in there, your video is utter garbage. That's not even worthwhile to use as TP.
But is this the case? There isn't really any evidence for it. In fact, there is evidence of one of the said editors, a guy named Sack, refuting some of these claims himself.
No, that was the editor that did the Boss Rush video. That's not just any editor. That was an editor that they brought up. Don't just say it's an editor. No, that is a very important editor because that was the editor they were talking about.
In Sack's own doc, he says, quote, I asked Bao to go anonymous and in-house because I had been
No. I swear to God, if you ignore the fact that Sack brought up Bao when they mentioned the Boss Rush video and how Bao was excited for him to do that, you're fucked.
Wanting to focus on my own projects for 2025, since I had spent pretty much all of 23 and 24 doing videos for others and was having a lot of people / companies reaching out asking me to work with / for them, and I'm not good at saying no to work opportunities, unquote. This alone, to me, is proof enough to say that at the very least, Sack himself wasn't taken by Bao. Now, he doesn't doesn't really share his conversation with Bao about this wanting to go exclusive. However, I am willing to believe that he wished to work on other projects.
So you didn't bring up the Boss Rush thing at all, because that was the vast majority of his entire document was the Boss Rush. And everything that went down during the Boss Rush editing. And how Bao was there beside Red and Cinder when he asked to help out with a Boss Rush video. And Bao was very pro that. That disproves everything he literally just said, and that shows that Red was gaslighting and manipulating. That was the importance of that thing. Everything you showed up there was gaslighting and manipulating and lying to Nano, because that wasn't what happened. Holy shit, you don't even know what it is that you're bringing up here, and you're making arguments out of literal nothingness.
Projects for himself. Specifically due to this in his doc here, quote, in general, being just an editor is not a long-term sustaining thing in most scenarios. So I wanted to be left alone this year to work on other things than just editing for other people, unquote. In my opinion, this could be a form of libel by Red. It is in its face an untrue statement, and is being made as a response to Nano saying,
It's gaslighting and manipulation. It doesn't matter if it's libel or slander. It's used for gaslighting purposes. By the way, guys, they admitted that they said at the beginning they understand human emotion and human psychology. Where's the gaslighting manipulation that you're bringing up? Because that's why that whole statement was being used, was to gaslight Nano, who wasn't there in person when that whole situation was going down.
Quote, I want to understand it better, especially if I cancel on her for the second time, lol. Now, to be fair to Red here, this is a cut-off direct message. We don't really know what they were talking about before this, or why Nano said,
well, now I'm going to be fair to Red because it was a cut-off message, blah, 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 blah. That wasn't the point of the message. The point of the message was to show just how manipulative it was to show how psychotic they were. That was the point. Simultaneously, to show how they were treating Bao and what they were thinking about Bao behind the scenes when her own editor was there. When she was there with her editor, trying to get him to help out with the Bosch Rush video. You have actually ripped out all the context from what this was supposed to be, made an entirely different argument to destroy yourself, then just claim, well, it's this. But that wasn't what this entire screenshot was used for. It wasn't for slander or anything. It was to show gaslighting, manipulation, and how they were treating their best friends behind the scenes.
Said this in the first place. We do know that they had been conversing about exclusivity a few hours earlier. However, that will come back up in its own section later. Let's look at another situation in the same doc that could be seen as slander or libel. That would be towards Shy Lily. Red alleges on 4/12/25 that Shy Lily had been, quote, acting weird towards Sinder lately, and, quote, dipping out of collabs at the last minute and now ghosting her messages, unquote.
Because she was mad over what Sinder did to Numi at the New York concert when Sinder last minute canceled on Numi while she was at New York about to do a concert, and Bao had to overnight go to help out her friend. Mind you, Sinder canceled to promote V cards, the thing that Shy Lily was leading the charge on, and Shy Lily said, we could have rescheduled. You didn't have to do that. Shy Lily was mad. Again, context fucking matters. Person who says they understand human psychology but keeps removing all the psychology behind any of this and why people were making these actions.
Red would also allege that when Sinder raided Lily, she would not acknowledge Sinder by name. Later in the same conversation, Red would say, quote, feels like we're going to have to compete with Lily if she's ghosting Sinder and wants the same model mama, and, quote, gotta stay competitive even when we shouldn't have to, unquote. Now, is there really any merit to what Red had said? Kind of. In her response stream, a couple of days after this all took place, Shy Lily did have a few things to say about the dipping out of collabs and ghosting messages.
I did say, I did ghost her in the DM one. I didn't see the DM. But somehow, before Nano worked on my 3.0 model, that wasn't a problem. Everyone who is in contact with me, anyone who is close, even my viewers, everyone knows I suck at Discord. I'm very distant, I'm very messy, I don't check often, and I'm not very thorough. So, and she knows that too, because it happened last year as well. She knows it too. It's why we have a group chat with her and Buska and me in it. So if she wants to plan something, hello? So if she wants to plan something, she knows where to go, and she has used it.
I don't think that means anything that you just said there. She just said that I'm shit at Discord. I'm shit at Discord. I'm shit at Discord. I'm shit at responding to DMs. There's a lot of people that are like that. I don't think that proves anything there.
So anyways, yes, I am guilty of dodging a collab, because I simply didn't fucking feel like it. And yes, I am guilty of ghosting 2 messages.
Yeah, because she was pissed off. You're going to remove that context, huh? Wow. He's leaving the context out of everything and making a video that this isn't made in bad faith. He's deliberately avoiding facts and diverting the narrative. Yes, legitimately. You're removing the context. You're wanting to say that you're bringing the facts in. You're wanting to say that you're bringing the human psychology in, but you're removing all this context that is super important to everything about this. To try to say, well, this is the facts. These are what we have. But you're ignoring the fact that Shy Lily was pissed. Pissed at how you treated your guys' friends. People that they assumed were all friends together. Rightfully pissed. Think about it, okay? How does one get good at Discord? I have no idea, Static. But think about this, okay? Static, actually, you're perfect in chat here. Let's say you want, let's say, okay, you, Gal, me, Adam, okay? These are the people, these are the players here. Let's say, for the sake of all this, actually, no, I just need 3 people. I just need you, Gal, me. Let's say Gal really needed me, okay? Gal really, really, really needed me to go to wherever it is that she needed me to go, and I confirmed that I would go there. I would go there and help her. Say that's 3 months down the road. I said I would go. And then I don't respond to her as she tries to get me to make sure that I come to this thing all the way for those 3 months. And then about a week prior to her needing me there, very long trip, everything like that, I say, no, I have to go do this thing with Static. And then she has to go out and get somebody else. And then you find out what I did, because what you wanted me to do with you was something we could have rescheduled. We could have moved off. We could have done a different day. It was only over the internet. This was very different than being in person. Would you be mad, Static? Would you be mad at me for the actions I took there? Trying to wait for Static to respond, but that is the correct answer. Yeah, you would be mad. You'd be mad at me. Don't you dare say nah. You would be mad at me. Last minute, canceling on Gal, you would be mad at me because she needed me for something and you just wanted me to help out with something that could have easily been rescheduled. She then had to grab Adam, who had to fly out last minute or some shit like that. Shock, or anybody last fucking minute. You would be mad. That's normal. Okay, Static, maybe you're not the good one here, but a normal person would legitimately be mad at how their friends were treated.
She asked for a collab, which by the
Yes, bro, anybody would be mad. Oh, she's getting into it. I'm going back just a little bit.
because I simply didn't fucking feel like it. And yes, I am guilty of ghosting 2 messages where she asked for a collab, which, by the way, she also only does when there is something business-related. AFK drop, VCard drop, any event, any debut, any announcement, any merch. Then I'm important. Then we can network. Then he was business. So I am guilty of that, but like I said, I would like to excuse myself from those 2 sins because she knows better. It's been
Yeah, she knew better. She knew that they could have rescheduled at any time. Why aren't you bringing that context up?
a thing last year, and last year it wasn't a problem. Only until Nano worked on me, it was a problem. Anyways.
So, in a way, yes, Red is correct that she's not doing collabs, that being Shy Lily. Her excuse for the first is because she, quote, simply didn't feel like it, unquote, but doesn't seem to elaborate on why.
No, she does, but you're too retarded to remember that or don't want to bring in the context.
For the others, she doesn't really give a reason, but
She literally does. She does. You just refuse to bring in the context because you're bad faith. This video is bullshit. Oh, hands down. And I have a way to disprove this entire video very quickly at the end. And there is 5 memberships waiting for the end of this, guys, for anybody that sticks around. 5 free memberships, because I'm still willing to bet you he ain't bringing that fucking video up.
does state that both are business related. I'm going to say, for this section alone, based on what Red said, that this really isn't libel or slander.
Nobody was bringing up as it being libel or slander. They were talking about how bad she was treating her friends. Quit bringing it up to libel and slander. I don't even know why you made this entire argument a thing. You're just retarded.
Red has correctly pointed out that, yes, Lily dodged or dropped out of collabs and hasn't been replying to Cinder's messages. She's admitted to as much. The issue I do have with it, however, is why Red chose to raise it in the first place. I can very much believe at this point, after reading this message and many of the other DMs in this Google Doc, that Cinder and Red talk about her feelings a lot.
Wait a minute. I want to scream. I want to scream extremely loudly. Because if you just said that, if you just said what I think you just said there, again, your entire video and all the positions that you have taken are null and void, because you just said that they more than likely do talk to about how they feel and what their thoughts are on things a lot, emotions, whatever, a lot. Your entire argument is there's no proof that Cinder knew what Red was doing. But if they're talking a lot about what it is that they're doing, then there's no way in hell she didn't know. That line right there destroys your video. destroys the position that you have taken for 3 fucking months. What the literal fuck, Oko? But hey, this is Oko's MO. Take literally every position, strawman every position, do literally everything, make my own goddamn arguments, and then just move on. Say that I'm acting in good faith all the entire time while we're removing context, while distorting the evidence, and while making my own entire argument because I'm good faith even though I'm bad faith. Remember the Rima video and how awful that video was. I'm going to have to make those videos a whole entire stream just to show you guys how bad, like an entire video to put out there just to show you how bad they were. Both the Rima video and the Oko video. They were atrocious. Exactly, Umbro. Exactly.
I mean, come on. They are a couple. I think it would be fair to say, but sometimes women gossip. Some worse than others about people around them. I mean, come on, ladies. You know exactly.
Quit acting like that. Everybody knows this is true. Everybody knows women gossip. Come the fuck on. And you're not a lady. You're a dude.
Exactly what I'm talking about. And if any of you are in the comments right now saying you're a wholesome Christian being that never talks ill about anybody, you're lying, and I know you do.
You're lying, and I know you do.
The point I'm making right now is that Cinder, probably like the rest of some of these other girls that she's fighting with, vented frustrations and ill thoughts she had with somebody she thought she could confide in. But is that a crime?
You mean the things that she did that led to her basically backstabbing and destroying entire friendships? The things people were calling out the entire time? Yes. 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 Holy shit, you're not even bringing up any of the arguments. You're just making these arguments out of the blue. Yes, it was a fucking crime. In this regard, you know what? I'm going to say yes, because I don't know what the fuck you're on about anymore. The entire Cinder drama was how she was treating her friends behind the scenes. Blacklisting, backstabbing, abuse. Basically, full-fledged going on about how her friends were being mean to her and how she was awful and how she never went to them with any of the stuff and feigned how, oh, we're all great friends. Manipulation, abuse. That's what this all was. Just the way he's talking makes me want to go against him. I agree, Fabled.
Well, no, I don't think so. We as humans need someone to talk to. In our deepest and scariest times, we sometimes need to talk to trusted people about our thoughts and insecurities.
So then that guy went behind your back and then started basically ruining your entire friendships. Okay.
But if that person is your boyfriend, going back to Cinder and Red, things are definitely different. I know from my experience as a man that we like to solve problems. Men hear issues and want them to be gone. It's uncomfortable to see something that we can't fix. And
he was more than her boyfriend. He was her manager. So actually, if we're going to get nitty gritty with all this stuff, because apparently you don't want to get nitty gritty with all this, every little action that the manager took was on behalf of the client, i.e. Cinder in this situation. Doesn't matter if they were a boyfriend and girlfriend within the actual situation itself. Outright, when Red was doing what he was doing, those are actions that Cinder are also taking at the same time. In fact, Legal Mindset has an entire video breaking down everything about that, how Cinder is by and large also guilty of all this. Those are actions that her manager are taking on her behalf. Blacklisting, trying to cut down people, all that. Those are inherently her own actions as well, because again, he was more than just her boyfriend, he was her manager. So actually, legally, yes, she is to be held accountable for everything her manager did as well. But again, removal of context, that's how you do Oko. Anybody that has really strong arguments against you, you just want to go on these entire weird tirades about legality and shit like that, when that wasn't the entire point. What it was how she was treating her friends. The people she claimed to be her friends, and how she treated them all like just stepping stones to the top.
if a woman is involved, we definitely want to make their world right. I feel like it would be safe for me to infer that Cinder probably vented to her boyfriend, Red, many times about her thoughts when it came to those she considered her friends. A lot of what Red says and repeats here in the Google Doc sounds like the mad ramblings of a woman who dumped her emotions on her man.
That's it. I'm bringing this up. I'm bringing this up because I really bet you don't. Here's Buff Pup. Okay. Now, Oko will more than likely say that this is just hearsay. This is hearsay. This is hearsay. Buff Pup has actually known Sinder in IRL, went to parties with Sinder in IRL. You know, same with Bao, Lily, all these people. They know each other IRL. That was one of the cool parts about this is all these people actually knew each other, engaged with each other. And yes, this is Buff Puff's response to this. It's a 22-minute video, but I'm not going to play the entire 22 minutes here. Okay, I'm not. I'm actually here at 5 minutes and 50 seconds in because this is the key thing from Buff Pup's response to this entire thing. That I know for a fact Oko won't bring up because Oko's going to try to do this entire argument of, well, it's hearsay, it's irrelevant, they aren't the parties involved here, except that they knew the parties involved. Actually, everybody here knew the parties involved. You didn't even bring up Cottontail, who admitted to be one of the people that were blacklisted. You just wanted to ignore all that. But here's Buff Pup on this situation.
With that context in mind, I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. Especially, this is the part that pisses me.
Mind you, I do have a little bit of this out of the way. This is after she talked about her own interactions with her boyfriend and how she treats her boyfriend and how her boyfriend knew everything. You know what? Here, I'll go back just to be on the safe side, and I'll put it to 1.5. We don't have to watch it at, you know, where it is. We'll do this very nicely for you guys.
Whatever I'm going to say in an angry tone is, I just don't want to drag anyone else into it. I'm not going to speak for anyone else. So it's just going to be me, okay? And if you see that as self-centered, I don't tell you. Okay. I don't believe anything of this at all. As you guys know, if you're new here, okay, Shy obviously just came in, okay? Shy and I, Shock, have been together for a very long time. Shocked to no one because I literally say it all the time, okay? Wow, you guys can pretend you're shocked. What? I know. Shocker, guys. Whoa. No way. No weighing, Pog. Guys, I have never kept Shia. In my opinion, you guys can do whatever you want. If a streamer wants to keep their personal life separate, completely fine. Me, I ain't that bitch, okay? Huh? I ain't that fucking bitch, okay? So Shia and I have never hid anything. And one time we had this person come in and they were like, oh my God, is that your neighbor? And everyone gaslit that person in chat for like a good 30 minutes being like, oh my God, yeah, like they like bought houses together and like blah, 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 whatever and blah, blah. And so it just stuck as a joke. And so anytime that someone comes in, I'm always just like, yeah, that's my neighbor. He's like super close.
Fabled, it's a woman, but just the reason why I'm doing this is just for the context of what she says next.
And then whenever I have an issue and I'm like, oh yeah, let me just call my neighbor. And then he shows up in 2 seconds, guys. Come on. He shows up in like 2 seconds and he's like, hey, I'm your neighbor. Like down the hall. Like okay. I wonder why he ran so fast. Yeah, it was crazy, right? Anyways, with that context in mind, I don't believe it. I don't fucking believe it. Especially, this is the part that pisses me off, especially because I've seen them in person. I would believe it if I've never hung out with her, if I've never known her. I'd be like, oh my God, that feels like horrible. Like, I'd be a little like, I don't know, like what's going on. Like, I just don't know like him personally. The fact that, again, I and many other people have hung out with them in person and they are glued to the fucking hip every 2 seconds, and anytime something happens, I can see them turn to each other and communicate to each other what the fuck just happened. It's hard for me to believe. It's hard for me to believe that it's just Red's fault, okay?
That's the reason I wanted this. And I did back it up mainly because she herself has a boyfriend, talks all the time with, helps out with her streams, obviously, okay? Similar situation to Sinder. But that last little bit, you know, all the, hey, we hang out together, we know each other in person, we know blah, 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 blah. Everybody knew that they were joined at the hip, that they constantly talked together, that they were constantly talking about different things that were going on. I do believe it's in this video, or maybe it was somebody else's, that openly said that they were constantly talking about business together. Even at parties. In IRL situations. So if you remove that context, because I know Oko's probably not going to bring up this video or this clip or anything about this entire thing here destroys Oko's entire video. This statement right here, somebody that knew them, knew how they interacted, openly says, yeah, they were always joined at the hip together, they knew each other, they were constantly talking about business, they were always interacting with each other like this. You don't bring that aspect up. You don't bring that context up, your video's null and void. Sorry, it just is. I mean, we're talking, if I met her at a bar, I'd walk away, not even say anything. I don't blame you. really. Buff thinks about being self-centered a lot, but she doesn't even realize being self-centered is not a bad thing, but being a self-centered prick is. Yeah. Heck, he doesn't even reply to you calling him out like this. Oh, he won't. Oh, he has. Oh, he has, bro. I just have him muted. I'll admit it. I have Oko muted. You want to know why I have Oko muted? Because Oko is a deranged nut job. I had an argument with him before where I bring up the Rima video as evidence as to why he's a bad faith person. And he goes like, well, you need to give me exact, specific time moments and screenshots and evidence that I'm a bad faith person. It's like, but the video kind of speaks for itself. The entire video does. No, you need exact. I need the screenshots right now. Oh, you're throwing a folder filled with evidence at me, but you expect me, the accused, to go through that. I'm not even shitting you. Those were actual words he said. That's why I have him muted. I see his notifications, mainly because sometimes I like a good laugh. But bro, I don't even want to engage with this dude. It's so insane.
In fact, I'm going to bet 100% that that is what this is. So, what's the issue?
Yeah, the issue is that they were manager and boyfriend.
Well, Red is both her manager.
Pulls out the documents full of screenshots. Exactly. That's literally what it is. Here's a massive video filled with screenshots of you guys openly editing comments, editing shit out to suit your own ends, showing how bad faith you truly are, showing how manipulative you truly are. And you're like, well, give me an example. Give me an example. Give me an example. It's literally in the video, all over the video. I don't know what you want from me. You threw this evidence at me, but I'm not going to accept it as evidence. Literally right there. Sorry.
And her boyfriend. And just like a boyfriend will want to fix anything that ails his girl, he will also use whatever power he can to push down those he thinks is hurting his girl.
Okay, so you admit that the manager was doing bad things on behalf of the client. Okay, good for you. So they're all to blame here because the actions of the manager do reflect on the client. Thank you, Oko.
This is something that I will be doubling down on and coming back on later near the end, but to the end cap of the
Swear to
slander
God.
section, I wanted to point out one other little thing. Red does mention that Lily stopped acknowledging Cinder whenever she raided Lily. Nano and whoever helped her put this doc together, in response, included a clip that shows Lily saying hello to Cinder when she raided. However, like the autistic person I am, if we wanted to split hairs on this,
I swear to God, if you're gonna split hairs on this shit, you're retarded.
technically, in this instance, Red is correct.
No. No, she was in the middle of a promotion stream of a thing that she gets paid to play. And she said, hail Pyroprop Raiders. She's not going to stop this paid promotion. Just go like, oh my God, thank you, Cinder. That was actually Shy Lily's own thing. Nobody does that. If you're going to really split this hairs down the middle and say, well, I mean, if we're splitting hairs, he's actually right. But the context matters again, you retard.
Lily doesn't say hello to Cinder. She does say hello, though, to Cinder's fans.
Okay.
When you say hello Raiders, hello Pyropops, that includes Cinder.
Oh! Oh my goodness! Hello! Oh! Hello, Raiders! Hello! I am playing Berserker. It's called The Last Berserker Kazan. We were sponsored, but the game was really fun, so I just kept playing for like a million more hours. Hello, everyone! Hello! The Pyropop raid! Hello, Pyropops! What did you guys do? I am low-key addicted.
She even acknowledged the Pyropops and nobody acknowledges the streamer directly. I'll say this, some people do acknowledge the massive streamer, but usually when you get to this level of big, they do actually just say, hey, hello, community. Hello, people. Sometimes you'll get people go like, oh, shout out to so-and-so for the raid. Shout out for this. It is interchangeable at this point in time. You can either shout out the massive community, that again includes the streamer in question, or you shout out the streamer itself. It's either or. It doesn't really matter.
Usually, okay, so most people know me for my gacha addiction, but I really like Souls-like games.
And while I don't think this is a grand indictment of the point altogether, I would need to see more recent clips of Cinder raiding Lily. But this is
You ain't kidding, I'm dumbass.
the one that was presented by the nanodoc itself, and I felt important to include it since I personally don't think it counts.
Then why include it at all?
The next crime I wanted to address is the exclusivity and blacklisting that allegedly took place.
She openly admitted that this, oh my God, she openly admitted that this happened. Here, guys, I need to do a thing. How do I pause? You know what? Here. I quickly stopped the recording. I'm turning on the background music. I have to go take a piss real quick. I'll be right back. Okay. Okay, I'm back. Had to take a massive piss. By the way, I see you guys look at the circumstances of evidence, even though I don't think it really means anything. What the F are you on about then, says Fabled? Yeah. I'm not gonna disagree. Yes, legitimately. That is what's going on here. Here's a big evidence. I think it's super important, but it's not.
This deal was first brought up on 1/15/25, the same day as some of the previous screenshots we've already read. Around 6:48 p.m., Red asks Nanolis about having model exclusivity. Quote, I mean, like, if we wanted to have some kind of model exclusivity, what would you need to make that sustainable for you? With Nanolis replying by saying, quote, maybe you can share one of your ideas and I'll check what I can think. At first,
mind you, even Sinder herself admitted that she tried to do the Nanolis exclusivity because she herself thought it was a good idea. That was a thing that was actually going down, and Sinder admitted that this actually happened and that it was a bad thing that it happened. But it was all Red's idea. It was all Red's fault. It's all Red's fault. Even though she also said that Red instilled this very competitive business strategy within her, and it's all Red's fault. Even though I knew and agreed and signed off on it, even though it's all Red's fault.
First, around 7:28 p.m., Nanolis comes back to Red initially interested in the said deal.
A lot, Cloud.
Nanolis would say, quote, okay, so asked help from my friends. So, a monthly fee, calculating my monthly earnings. Also, how long would this be, and if this counts for models I've already worked on, unquote. Red would reply with stating, quote, the main thing we're looking for are for you to not take on any new model clients and to not make any new models/outfits with Silverveil ever again. Going back to the Red/Nano DMs, and jumping ahead a little bit here to the DMs that took place at 9 p.m. on the same day, the conversation on exclusivity would continue. Here is where...
You're just going to ignore the fact that he openly said that we're going to blacklist Silverveil. Just ignore that.
I feel like things got quite retarded in terms of figuring out terms. Red would say...
Quite retarded because they were awful and they literally tried to gaslight her into doing this.
Say, quote, we can pay blank for you and we'll continue to give you lots of model work. He would also say, quote, you don't work with Bow, Blank, or Silver.
I believe Blank ended up being Cottontail because Cottontail was one of the affected parties. Jeremy, you can use the original Moonlight Sonata by Beethoven for your right back screen since it's public domain. Ooh, that might be a good idea.
All, again, models or art, unquote. Nano, still seeming to play around with the idea, would respond by saying, quote, is there any way to add a little bit more, since Silver still asks for art every now and then, Sweating Frog. This, at the very least, up till now, was accepted by Nanolis, and even countered by her asking Red for more compensation due to the fact that she knows that Silverveil tends to get more art.
Are you ignoring every time she went over to Cinder, and where Cinder was like, well, we just feel like your art is going to become less valuable with the more nano babies that are out there? Are you ignoring that? Are you going to ignore everything that they did to her, essentially, like with the compensation and how shit it was? Like, she was compiling it, even though her own statements were, I was not liking this, but I was going along because I didn't want to lose a friend.
Something that Red replies to by saying,
give a quick recap. Okay, for those of you who are coming in right now, essentially we're going over a massive stream, video, in which Oko's entirely idiotic, stupid, gaslighting, bad faith, misrepresenting what was actually going on, removing so much context, all on the Cinder drama, and it's I feel like I'm losing my mind.
quote, we could do it like when Silver asks you for art, you tell her no, and then tell us to buy another art piece. Like, so you still get a job from it, unquote. I should step back and talk for a moment about exclusivity before we continue.
No, you don't. No, you don't need to do that. You don't. Exclusivity is pretty straightforward. It means you're going to be working exclusively for this person, and you get a set amount of money, cover all your costs. I just did that freaking fast, even with an echo. I'm going to have to speed through this probably because you're going to go on forever and probably pull up a literal Google definition of what exclusivity is.
Because I've seen quite a bit of people get upset at the idea that Cinder or Red would offer to do 100% exclusivity and try to keep Nano for themselves. While I personally don't...
No, it wasn't just the exclusivity, it was because of the manipulation to get exclusivity, all while simultaneously not even giving her a proper exclusivity deal. It was just, hey, every time somebody wants art, come to us. Cut them out, come to us. That was the point. That is such an atrocious deal and so fucking manipulative and awful to everybody around. That was the deal. Quit acting like people were mad that they even wanted an exclusivity deal. It wasn't just the exclusivity deal. It was how they were going about the exclusivity deal. You nutwad.
Agree with any of the wording of how Red decided to ask for exclusivity. I also don't think that exclusivity is something that people are uncommon to in real life, especially in the business world, which a lot of these...
This is different. This is a freelance individual that would end up needing a whole lot more money who does art. Quit acting like this is the same as a normal business world argument here. This is an art world. Completely different standards, completely different context. It's not all one-to-one here, you nutwad.
Girls are used...
You can't talk about a subject in which you're not proficient in, but he surely yaps a lot in subjects he's not even a rookie at exactly.
...to, I'm sure. Perhaps in the VTubing medium it is uncommon. I haven't really seen evidence to the contrary. But I do know that artist exclusivity is a thing that exists, and it is very normal.
In a very different medium, though. You literally just said, in the VTubing world, it's not common. I have no actual evidence to support that this ever happens within the VTubing world, because the vast majority of individuals in the VTubing world are all freelance or indies. Even when it comes to some of the higher up artists that work for a corpo, the people that they end up hiring to do work for them are indies. You should know this as somebody who loves the VTubing scene so much. So why are you bringing anywhere else at this? Like, this is the VTubing scene. This isn't the same thing here. She's, again, removing context to support your arguments.
Not only is it normal, but for many artists who can make a living off of their art, it can be quite the huge blessing, provided that the terms are good for them and for the business, as it can be a solid paycheck that they can get guaranteed every single month instead of hoping that somebody will commission them. To further add on to this, nanolists at...
You're also trying to get a very solid model creator that has made models for dozens of large name profile individuals, from Ironmouse, Zentreya, Cinder, Shylily, Bao. Well, not Bao yet, but Silverveil, like some massive streamers out there. You're trying to get her to be exclusive to you. You need to back up that bank truck. You need to back up that truck full of money. They didn't even try to do that. That's why the whole deal was laughable. Everything about this whole situation was laughable. That's why people called it out, because it also included outright blacklisting of other content creators. Art exclusivity is a thing which is done with contracts and not by Discord chat. Exactly on, bro. This whole contract that they were doing was quite literally, well, when Silverveil comes to you, say no and then commission us, and we'll see if we can fit it in.
At this point, had become quite the
doesn't
big model
work.
artist and had quite a few names under her belt. This meant that as more time went on, she would have less and less time for her original baby, that being Cinder, and would spread herself more thin for other big VTubers that were going after her. It's logical to me, and many other business-minded people, that Cinder might want exclusivity.
No, it's not. It's not logical at all. It actually makes her model even more valuable. With more nano babies out there, she's the first. She's the one that put nano on the map. She's the most influential out of them all, and they're all looking at her as, oh my god, you're a trailblazer. You brought this here. You gave us nano. It's amazing. Yeah, no, that doesn't make any business sense whatsoever in this regard, especially with the VTuber community. Nano became a really big deal there out of all that, and you wanted to just lock that down? That's insane.
This industry, even if you aren't competing, is very heavy with people that do end up competing. If you want resources, like an editor perchance, or an artist perchance, you may need to bite the bullet and offer them more money or a contract for exclusivity in order to keep them working explicitly for you. Otherwise, you might lose slots or time that you need for future projects.
Wait, but the editor chose, like, he wanted to work exclusively for Bao. And Bao said yes, because he wanted to do his own work. So that's different context again. I can get what you're trying to bring up here, but bringing up the Bao editor, that doesn't really fit this narrative here, because he came with the idea of exclusivity, not Bao came to him with exclusivity. The same goes for, that's the exact reverse when it comes to Nanoless.
Projects. Now, the terms for this deal between Cinder/Red.
Cinder wasn't even the first streamer to commission Nano, even though she was the first to go popular. Doesn't shock me there. It legitimately doesn't shock me. She was just the first big one. Nano was never exclusive. So now you're trying to make her exclusive when she has these big contracts with massive streamers. You need to back up a bank truck, essentially, to pay for her. And you weren't willing to do that. So yes, this whole deal was bad, but it also underlines the exclusivity. It wasn't in abuse. Gaslighting, exclusivity, abuse, blacklisting people, and showing other stuff that, like, this whole thing that you're trying to do here, you know, blacklisting, it goes to the blacklisting aspect. It wasn't just the exclusivity. It was so much more to all this. Again, though, coming from somebody that openly said that they understand human psychology. Now this is a dude, correct? Yes, Cloud. Yes, this is a dude. Bao was ready to sign the exclusivity contract, but Cinder never agreed to Nano's contract suggestion. Exactly. Bao, the dude that came to Bao said he wanted to be exclusive because he wanted to do other work for himself and just wanted to start editing for Bao. Cinder went to Nano trying to get her to be exclusive, and the deal there was shit. And she was gaslighting Nano and trying to make her feel like she had to be exclusive. The whole Nano baby line and how it's just business. That's all gaslighting and manipulation to somebody that doesn't speak English as their first language. But again, context.
And Nano are a bit shaky at best. Most of it seems to be mired around Red stating that he wants to make sure that Nano doesn't work for others. Something he really didn't need to say, but Nano does, at least during this conversation, agree with partially, and counter-offers asking for more money. Something that Red himself is willing to part with. The agreement, if you can even call it one, as I see it, was thus. A monthly fee calculated around the normal earnings for Nanolists. We aren't really sure how much that might be.
No, that wasn't even the deal that was come about. That was what Nanolists wanted to do. The deal that came about was, hey, whenever somebody says, hey, I want to commission you, come to us and we'll commission you. That's what it was.
But we do know that each model that Nano draws and cuts at base are $10,000 USD. In the DMs, Red does say that Cinder was planning around 4, give or take, models in 2025 alone. So at base, not including any changes, that would be roughly $40,000. Now, to the contrary.
That's just $40,000 from one creator. There was multiple people wanting Nano because Nano was a hot commodity.
This also could just be outfits. It's not really specified, and I'm not sure how many new models Cinder really needs at this point, but even if it is just outfits, that's still $5,000 USD per new outfit at the base. So either it's 40,000 grand minimum per year or 20 grand minimum per year.
Yeah, that's not enough for somebody who's a hot commodity that made models for Iron Mouse, Zentreya, Silverveil, high income individuals. Like that's a lot of money right there. You're trying to lock that down. You need a whole lot more than that amount of money. That's retarded. He didn't show Nano's chat about the counter price. Exactly. He didn't. I doubt he will.
If you combine this with her normal art commissions that start at $2,000 USD and adds $1,500 USD per character, it starts to add up to a massive amount of money only very rich people like Sinder could afford. We don't have a total number of commissions Nano does every year. In her own TOS on her website, she states that things have a turnaround of about 8 weeks, I think. 3 weeks to begin and 4 to work on it unless a deadline exists. If this timeline in her TOS is accurate, I would assume that it would take about 8 weeks to get something done, which is pretty damn good in my personal opinion, meaning that she could pump out quite a few models a year provided she doesn't get sick. Which she does, which I might have to mention more of later.
She was getting sick because of the abuse that she was going under. Are you really going to bring that up as a counterpoint as to why she was being bad? She openly said, I was getting sick over everything that I was being put through. The countless abuse, the countless gaslighting, not wanting to be able to do, feeling like I couldn't do what I want to do. Those are different things there, you dimwit.
Either way, I don't think it's a bad deal, considering the wage potential.
No, it's a horrible deal. That's a horrible, horrible, horrible deal. You are a hot commodity. Largest streamers all over the world want you. That's a lot more money. You can either get essentially the same price. Let's go with the four models from one person, or you have 10 people wanting different models. What's better? I get it's the or. You don't know that's how many people are going to want you. Let's go back to how many different models at the time Nano had created. This doesn't even include Shy Lily's new model. All these models, there's big streamers involved in all this right here. Huge streamers, Buff Pup, Centrea, Iron Mouse. You got obviously Cinder, Snuffy, Silverveil. These are huge freaking people right here. And you want her to turn all that down? No. Let alone all these different people. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. That's 19 right there. Granted, different years, but you also had Bow, where you're not going to get into that one. Cinder made her shut down the Bow one. But hey, we're not going to get into that one, even though Cinder knew that that one was actually happening and knew that this was all going on. It's not even only for outfits. It includes everything related to her model and toggles too. The quality of model Nano produces is worth that much in everyone's eyes. Yes. Legitimately, yes. I wish I had $10,000. I'll take a Nano model. I'll be her first guy.
For the country she lives in, which is Brazil. All of that to say that based off of what I have here, it's not a bad deal for her.
No, it's an atrocious deal. It's a retarded deal. And if you're going to say it's not a bad deal, you don't know basic economics or basic principles at all.
This is probably why Nano entertained this exclusivity idea in the first place.
No, it was because of the gaslighting that was going on. That's why.
As to why she backed out, she claims, quote, after realizing what taking a deal with them would really mean for both my workload and my mental health, I backed out.
Because of the amount of abuse she was going under. You failed to bring up the fact that they openly forced her before even the exclusivity deal outright to shut down the Bow deal. Then they weren't even playing along with the entirety of that deal. It was whenever somebody comes to you for a model, come to us and we'll see if we can commission one or not. But just turn them down either way. That was the deal. I don't know why you're so retarded on any of this. I mean, you're removing so much of these arguments here.
Unquote. This turns us to the third potential crime that was alleged in Nanos' document. I feel like it's important, once again, before I start talking about the worth of something like digital art, I should discuss how the business world might see its value. A world that...
No, you don't. You don't need to do any of that. Guys, we still have an hour left in this video. You don't need to do any of this shit. You don't. Thinking that you do is retarded. You're talking about one of the top tier model creators here. There's a lot of value right there. You need a lot more than $40,000. That's just what she could get. You need to back up a fucking truckload there. We're talking 100K minimum. Minimum.
That Red and by extension Cinder are both coming from. My research into the topic of scarcity
Cloud,
leads me
those
to
are all
believe that
bots.
Red and potentially Cinder believed that the more people that Nano made models for, the less perceived value that came with the models, or potentially the less interesting and unique.
It's a similar comment that Gunpie shit made about the plushie maker from Vietnam by saying the Nano being from Brazil. Quite literally, yeah. Well, I mean, she's from Brazil. The 40K should be good enough for her. No, no, no. You're talking about the top tier creator here. Back that truck up. This is essentially you trying to get Tony Stark, freaking Robert Downey Jr. to work with you again. Back that fucking truck up. You weren't willing to back the truck up. This is the same with V Shoujo trying to get Shy Lily. They weren't willing to back the truck up. You need to back the truck up. If we're going to talk business here, you need to back that fucking truck up to get the hot commodity. If you're not willing to do that, you don't get the hot commodity.
Something I've seen many people say about Nano's work. You could perhaps liken this argument to, let's say, the Mona Lisa. One of Leonardo da Vinci's most famous pieces, the Mona Lisa is seen today by...
Actually, I would probably legitimately make this argument with Robert Downey Jr. How did Marvel get Robert Downey Jr. back? $3 billion? Several dollars? Essentially backing a literal bank up to his house? Yeah, that's what you need there. You need that. If we're going to be saying, hey, it's equivalent to Mona Lisa, then you need to be, you're not trying to get the Mona Lisa. You're trying to get Da Vinci himself. You need a lot of money there. Those are two very different standards here. You're trying to buy iron at a price of Ironheart. Yeah, you're trying to buy Iron Man at the price of Ironheart. Legitimately. That you're not wrong there. You're quite not. And it doesn't matter where she's from in the world. It matters what it values to you. So if they're offering her a very low value, that means they don't actually value it.
Many people as one of the most valuable and priceless looking paintings that has been contributed to society. In this situation, the Mona Lisa is Sinder. She was one of the first people that Nano made work for, and perhaps to Red, he sees Cinder's brand and thinks that her model would be less interesting.
That was not just Red. Cinder shared that exact same belief structure and even put it in her own apology. She agreed with Red on this. Don't say that this was just Red. If you remove that context, you're an idiot.
The more work that Nano does for people. Even parrots something similar, I would argue, on 11/17/2023, 2 years before the main 115 conversation, where he says, and I quote, "Not to discredit any of your work because everything you work on is top of the line incredible, but when everybody's a Nano baby, it feels less special to be one, if that makes sense. Kind of been getting the same feeling from Gamersubs lately though." Unquote. Now, the value is in the eyes of a beholder, obviously.
You're ignoring what Cinder did. You're not pulling in what Cinder did at all, are you? You're not going to bring in Cinder. You're just blaming it all on Red. Holy shit. Ariel says the Mona Lisa wasn't anything until the 1900s. Before that, no one really cared for the Mona Lisa. I did not know that. I also agree. I prefer Starry Night and some of Van Gogh's work over Leonardo, over the Mona Lisa and what Da Vinci did. I'm not going to discredit Da Vinci at all. I can't do what Da Vinci did, but I prefer Van Gogh over them.
I feel like if we're going to take away the many other paintings of Da Vinci that he made, sure, you could argue that the Mona Lisa would probably be valued higher due to the...
No, it would actually be valued lower. It would be valued much lower because if it's one painting from one individual, it actually loses its value. I get that Da Vinci did a whole lot of other stuff, but that actually would lower its value if Da Vinci only did this painting and no other paintings and just then did all sorts of other stuff. That would actually probably lower its value in the grand scheme of things. And again, people wouldn't actually care about it that much.
High scarcity of it being one, if not the only painting done by the famous painter. However, I could also argue that part of the reason it is as highly regarded as it is comes from the fact that Da Vinci did have so much art and beautiful things that he had made, both paintings and inventions alike.
Yes, that quite literally is why it's so valuable, is because of the works that Da Vinci gave to the world. That's why it's so valued. Because it's a Da Vinci work. If he only ever did the Mona Lisa and nothing else, it would have actually lost its value.
If you take all of that away and you're left with one painting, do you really think he would be as famous and the
No.
Mona Lisa so highly regarded?
No.
I feel like that's something I can't truly answer, but I'd wager to guess that the answer is probably no. Translating back to Nano's art, could the argument be made that Cinder would be perceived as more valuable or unique if Nano only made work for her or for less people overall? That, I guess, depends on how you assign value to a VTuber model.
But you're assigning value to the model itself when it's not just the model that makes the VTuber, it's the VTuber that makes the model. Like, they work hand in hand. Yes, you can have that high-skilled model right there, but if the VTuber themselves are not funny, then the model itself doesn't actually have any value outside of big boobies that jiggle a lot. You have to have both working together. So yes, you need Nanolith. Cinder helped make Nanolith as much as Nanolith helped make Cinder. Those two worked together to make each other. You require both to do the work. So once you start trying to commandeer both to say that all your values just in the model, then you have actually not understood VTubing at all. The model is part of it, but so much more of the work is from the creator. So actually what Cinder was doing was discrediting all VTubers out there, saying you're only as good as your model. No. You yourself have to put in the work to be as good. You have to value that model. All those other creators I just pulled up that did the Nanolith models, they did the work to be able to afford the Nano model, and then they brought good word to the Nano models. They earned the Nano model. They work together, not one is required. You need both in order to succeed. You can't have one without the other.
At the end of the day.
It's symbiotic.
So I would argue that the standpoint of a model being valued less is truly just a businessman's thinking, which we know that Red clearly thinks himself to be, and Cinder alleges him to be in her.
The Mona Lisa is famous because of Da Vinci, not in reverse. Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a I disagree, bro. Okay, if you have a booby model, okay. You want to know why? You want to know why I disagree? Because Oko here is a booby model and he's a guy and he's retarded. You need to put the work in. The boobies can't just hold you forever.
To be honest, I don't really agree with the idea that more Nanolith models means that they are worth less overall.
Then why are you even arguing these points?
I do see the argument for supply and demand and scarcity, but I personally don't feel like it could 100% fit in this context. I guess it could fit if, down the line, Red decided to commission Nanolith less if he felt the inherent value he was putting on these models was lower. Or he could potentially see that the $10,000 price...
Why are you constantly saying Red would commission? This is Cinder. Red works for Cinder. So it'd be Cinder making the things. You're just ignoring Cinder in this whole thing. I've been noticing this a whole lot more. You're ignoring what Cinder is bringing to the table at all. You're not even I haven't even seen you bring up Cinder's DMs to Nanolith on this exact topic. If you don't bring that up, then I know, again, your entire video is null and void because you're not even bringing up the Cinder aspects. You're just blaming it all on Red and kind of following what Cinder told you to follow. So I guess you're bought and paid for. Well, not in reality. You're just stupid.
Tag as too much and think that the models are worth...
You're not even smart enough to be bought and paid for.
...less because of how many end up existing. I guess you could speculate about this for days about the value of digital art and other digital assets. Going back to Nanolith, she does state in her doc, quote, "Their primary concern is that the more non-Cinder models I make, the less valuable my existing models become. It's hard to say how much this messed with my mind as an artist that by working with other people, I am somehow making my existing models less special," unquote. Now, we don't really have the entire conversation from 115. In fact, I started to notice while writing this script that many of the sections of the DMs in these conversations are cut off or missing entirely, and
because they were used as examples, they weren't actual evidence, you nutwad.
There may even be a part where DMs are removed from a conversation in the Nanolith doc, but put back in another doc. Large swaths of time are gone, and we don't have confirmed start or endpoints for what they were talking about. To me, this strikes as odd. I think when you want to do some form of expose on somebody and...
It wasn't supposed to be an expose, you nutwad. It was my experiences with somebody, not an expose. It was my experiences. What were they titled again? What were the docs titled again, ladies and gentlemen? Okay? Terminating my work with Cinder. This was an explanation as to why they were terminating it. These weren't exposés. These were explanations. You got this from Bao. I was hurt personally and professionally by Cinder and her manager. This was Bao talking about her experiences. These weren't exposés. You don't even know what it is that you're talking about here. What the literal fuck?
Show how you feel like that they've been manipulated, in Nanolith's own words. You kind of have a duty to lay every single little bit of it out.
No! Wait, what? I need to go back there. I'm so... What? Terminating my work. No, this is all about why she is leaving. These are examples. These aren't an expose. What the literal fuck here?
Now, we don't really have the entire conversation from 115. In fact, I started to notice while writing this script that many of the sections of the DMs in these conversations are cut off or missing entirely, and there may even be a part where DMs are removed from a conversation in the Nanolith doc, but put back in another doc. Large swaths of time are gone, and we don't have confirmed start or endpoints for what they were talking about. To me, this strikes as odd. I think when you want to do some form of expose on somebody and show how you feel like that they've been manipulated, in Nanolith's own words, you kind of have a duty to lay every single little bit of it out.
Oh my fucking god, what the fuck is going on here? No, this wasn't an expose.
Why, you might ask? Oh, because context matters.
Context matters. Okay, bring up the Cinder shit. Bring up what Cinder was saying. If context matters so much, bring up what Cinder was saying. Bring up what Buff Pup was saying. Bring up what everybody said. Because if you're going to go down this context matters thing, you need to bring up everybody's interaction. But no, you want to ignore certain interactions because you personally think they are hearsay, even though they do give context. You have removed so much context from any of these outings that you don't even know what it is that you're talking about anymore. These weren't exposés. These were what people were saying on why they were doing a thing and showing examples. Not an expose, not hey, this is why she is an awful person. No, this is why I am leaving. This is why I am done. That's why you had the myriad of different examples come out as to some of her actions that she took. That's why this is such a drastic, massive thing here. You don't even know what you're arguing for anymore, you nimwit. This mother effer talking about context and doesn't give the full context. Legitimately, bro. I don't ever want to hear you talk about context again.
I don't care if parts of your conversation involve you both joking about an event, getting political for a moment, or even spamming emojis back and forth. I want to see the entire conversation from beginning to end.
Okay, but then you want an entirely different discussion going on there. I mean, yeah, I would love all the freaking DMs to be put out. I would love to see every little thing there. But you're ignoring so much context that it doesn't even matter. You didn't even once bring up the fact that Nanolist doesn't even speak English as her first language. That's like her second or third language. You don't even bring up you haven't brought up in the whole freaking thing in regards to all the exclusivity. You never once brought up anything that Cinder said, because Cinder was also involved in all that. That's an example of context there. You're trying to go on this whole entire context matters tirade in the middle of your video when you yourself have been removing context from the entire discussion. Shut the literal fuck up, Oko, you nutwad.
I want to see why the 115 conversation started, and I feel like I need to see more of Nanolist's responses, something that I noticed was largely absent overall. Hell, I noticed while reading these for the 15th time during my writing and recording that I didn't even see the point where Nano said no to Red on the exclusivity deal. No, seriously, I skimmed all the DMs for the 115 conversation. I even referred to the Powder Dog to read the full timeline to see if I had somehow missed something. Funny enough, it seems that I'm not the only one who finds the cropping of screenshots to be odd or
I don't ever want to hear you talk about cropping of screenshots to be odd or anything like that, because we already have evidence that you crop screenshots to try to push your own ends. Again, I point to the Rima video that I will be basically cutting out to put up as its own unique video, and then Oko's video on why Rima's a liar, which is so entirely bad faith.
Suspect. Powder and I and a few others have brought up how weird it is that Nanolist is leaving out DM conversations with Red. What's missing in them, and why didn't she include her backing out of the exclusivity deal? Now,
why are you trying to throw this at the feet of Nano? All that was supposed to be examples of their actions towards Nano. You want to now throw something else into a document that wasn't even meant to be a part of that document in the beginning as some sort of proof that, oh, she's lying or manipulating or doing something else or is being shady in herself. Those weren't what the documents were meant for. They weren't exposés. They were reasons as to why I was leaving and examples of their bad behavior. You're a nutwad. Bro, I feel like a masochist watching this with you. It's giving me several mental pain. Yeah, I agree.
You might yell in the comments. She did technically talk about it. Well, yes, technically. With Cinder, she did. On 2/11/25.
Holy shit, you're now technically she talked about it with Cinder, not Red. Wait, so now we're doing this whole thing of they definitely don't work together, even though they do work together because they are manager and client. They are manager and client. They have to know what each other is thinking here. This is a nut job. Why the fudge are you now coming out here and trying to say that this is an actual proof of her saying she doesn't want to be a part of it, even though she outright said she doesn't want to be a part of it? Again, this should have been brought up a whole lot sooner, but okay.
Almost a month after the initial conversation, a conversation is had between Nanolist and Cinder. I'd like to mention, by the way, that this exchange is...
Why didn't you go through that exchange? Why are you not going to go through the exchange? You better go through the exchange, because if you don't, you're a nut job.
Only one of two cases where Cinder's actual direct messages are shown. The other time they are shown is during a conversation on 11/26/23. Going back to the February 11th conversation, Nano...
Why the fuck aren't you going over what you just pulled up there? Why you're just showing it? You didn't even go over what was said. Holy nut job. Context matters, guys. Context matters.
Does talk about her canceling or stepping back on the exclusivity deal. She says...
Wait. Cinder just wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal. So maybe somebody else was removing the whole exclusivity deal? Something else was going on?
quote, I wanted to say sorry for stepping back on the exclusivity deal, unquote.
That's actually proof that she said no to the exclusivity deal. I don't know what the hell you're on about.
So where is the rest of the DMs? I guess we'll have to circle back to my gripes with Nanolys's lack of showing stuff later down the line.
You just want all the DMs. That's all you're fucking bitching about, is give me all the DMs. That quite literally is it. And you're one of the people that have been constantly pestering Nanolys for all the DMs to try to say that Nanolys was a bad person the entire time. She outright said, I'm stepping out of the exclusivity deal. And she felt bad about that. Read it in the goddamn document.
With all this in mind,
she's sounding so damn smug. He's sounding so damn smug, Ariel. People don't chat every moment on Discord, you stupid piece of shrimp shite. So the time between every chat is large. Exactly, Ombro. Exactly.
Circling back to my first point about the model value, we can probably all agree.
Why are we circling back to this first point about the model value? Why?
That while Red could be right in a business sense, it probably doesn't translate to Nano.
We already covered that point. Why the fuck are we even back here?
All of her models are highly unique.
I feel like I just had an ADHD moment, like I was disconnected from what was being said, but no, I'm following along again. Why are we back here? We have left this point long ago.
And different, for the most part. I could hear an argument.
By the way, Ombro, Oko has this weird thing with DMs. Legitimately schizo psychobabble with DMs.
About supply and demand, but at the end of the day, I just don't personally feel like it fits here. At least, the culture behind VTubers doesn't accept it.
Then why bring it up in the first place? Why bring it up at all? Why? Legitimately, why bring up any of that? Well, the culture doesn't accept it. Okay, then that's why people were pissed off. You did this whole thing just to say, well, the culture didn't accept it. Doesn't accept it. I want to scream, but people are trying to sleep in my household right now, and I'm on the verge of literally like just throwing something through a wall. We're only halfway through and you're finally on the fourth one. Did Sinder know? Well, yeah. She did. Again, the buff pup video, but you're probably not going to pull that up.
So, that's the million-dollar question in all of this, isn't it? Did Sinder know and sign off on what Red did as her manager? I feel like too many people are quick and easy to say yes, especially after learning that Red and Sinder were not only manager and client, but also boyfriend and girlfriend, albeit long distance, based off of some of the things we've seen in the Rain document. Before I go into why I don't think she did know everything that happened in detail, let me explain why she should take some form of accountability for what Red chose to do.
Wait, but everybody's doing that. You not... God damn it, I just... That's the whole point, is that she should take accountability, but she doesn't. She refuses to. She blames it all on Red. That's why people got fucking mad. Scream into a pillow? No, I have to scream loudly.
For one, he is her manager. He's a spokesperson behind the scenes, and sometimes in the public for her. He's there to represent her brand, and thus, by doing bad things and not acting professional, it can and seemingly has harmed Cinder's brand overall.
Yes.
So, yes, in a way, she should take some form of accountability for the actions of the man, dating or not, that represented her. Side note, this could start a better conversation about how VTubers need to find better managers and encourage better quality in the VTubing space.
Shut the fuck up. I don't give a crap about your side note on the grand scheme of VTubers right now. I want you to kind of just shut the fuck up and continue on. Let's figure out what the fuck your arguments are. Shut the literal fuck up.
To not have issues like this happen again. I think that's something I'm starting to notice more and more, and we need to sit down with our little menheras and encourage them not...
No, we don't. Shut up.
...to make their boyfriends their business partners. There is a reason why the workplace romance is banned in quite a few companies.
I don't really give a fuck what your opinions are right there. I'm this one. Quit with these side note bullshit.
With all that being said, while I think she should take some form of accountability for Red, I really don't believe she knew everything that he was doing.
I recite yet again to the Buff Pup video, in which Buff Pup said they were constantly chatting and talking in person about business and what was going on together, and they were basically side by side the entire time. This video disproves everything Mama Oko literally just said there. Shut the little fuck up, you brainlet.
At the very least, I don't feel like I have evidence really proving that she did. And so far,
Ugh, this times 10 as the level of scream Dermy wants to do. You know, sometimes at my day job, I really just want to yell at the top of my lungs to the nth degree, to the point that everybody just starts like, what the fuck's going on there? I want to do that times 100 right now.
Neither does Nano for that matter. The only proof that is claimed by her is a conversation from 11/26/23, where Nano.
Yeah, you're sorry. You're just not gonna bring up. You're just not gonna bring up the buff pup video at all. You're not. Got it. Got it. You're not going to bring up everybody who knew them personally. You're not going to bring up everybody who went to Japan with them. You're not going to bring up everybody who went to cons to them. You're not going to bring up everybody that actually partied with them, that went to Vegas with them. You're not bringing up any of that context. You're just like, right here, this is all the context we need. All this is the context. Ignore everything else because that's all hearsay. No, that's important. They knew them in person. They knew the dynamics that were at play. They knew them behind the scenes. You didn't, Mama. Oh, Oko. I'm not going to call you Mama Oko. You didn't, Oko. You didn't know them personally. You don't know anything about them personally. So you can't even just say, ignore all that. You have to bring that in. Those are all character evidence. That is all character evidence. That's not just hearsay. That is character evidence to this entire situation right here. But hey, you think you're a lawyer when in reality you're nothing more than a V-tweeter. In fact, again, I feel like I'm being mean to V-tweeters.
Nano brings up a DM from Red on the 17th of that same month, where he talks about the value of Nano's work. Now, I'm not sure exactly what in this conversation counts as Sinder knowing and signing off on everything, but if I had to wager a guess, it is the first reply under Nanolys's from where Sinder says, I understand what he means, but at the end of the day, it's just business. Of course, we'd love working with you and want to keep working together, but if you prefer to work with other clients instead of me, I know it's for a reason for you to help grow and not because you don't like.
But they make videos, so why just a V-tweeter? Because in reality, V-tweeters also make videos. So I also feel like I'm being mean to V-tweeters when I call Oko here a V-tweeter. In fact, they're like a V-schizo.
Me. To be honest with you, I'm really having a hard time seeing where this is a grand indictment of Sinder signing off on everything Red says or does. It does read to me like she's saying something like, oh, I see what he means, but if you want to work with others, I don't mind. To state again, I struggle.
Manipulation. You're failing to bring in the other context of all of this and what everybody else has said about the relationship. If you're going to start trying to dissect the relationship, you have to bring in what other people knew about the relationship that saw it in person and how it interacted in person. I need to find the video in which I think it was Sinder talking about how they went to Vegas together. Are V-tweeters just anime avatars? Oh, they're like that. They're worse. He's trying to character assassinate Nano and Shy Lily. Quite literally, yeah, without even bringing up any of the actual context. Like, you not bringing in the context about the actual characters of them is what's leading to this whole situation. You think that that's hearsay, but it's not. That's actual character evidence. That goes to the character of the people involved here and goes to the relationship dynamics. Those are important aspects to the context at hand here. Ignoring that leads you to the situation we have right here where you are trying to push an entire narrative that doesn't make any sense when you add in the rest of the context.
To see where the proof is here. If this really is the best example Nanolys has in, quote, many occasions.
Okay, we want to do this again? Let's do this again. I'll do this again. I'll do this again.
Like horrible, like I'd be a little like, I don't know like what's going on. Like I just don't know like him personally. The fact that again, I and many other people have hung out with them in person and they are glued to the fucking hip every 2 seconds, and anytime something happens I can see them turn to each other and communicate to each other what the fuck just happened. It's hard for me to believe it's hard for me to believe that it's just Red's fault. Okay. Sorry, I don't know how to turn these on. It's hard for me to believe that, like, it's just hard for me to believe, and I don't believe it. I just don't believe it.
Always glued at the hip. Always glued at the hip. And I didn't bring up the actual, editor's video or his docky, because within his docky, he openly says, again, they were glued to each other's hip, talking about business when I went up to them at TwitchCon to be the editor for the Boss Rush video. We've had multiple people say, yes, they were glued at the hip together. They always were communicating together about business and business strategies. Removing that context is not a good idea, you nutwad. What the fuck is docky? Google document.
That indicate Red is speaking on Cinder's behalf, unquote. I really am not sold on Sinder knowing. Now, let's be very clear
because you're retarded
here and not split hairs.
I know I shouldn't be doing these ad hominem attacks, but there's at a point in time when you meet somebody like this or start engaging with somebody like this that just doesn't understand that you need to bring these things in or chooses to not bring these things in. that quite literally at this point in time, me doing the ad hominem attacks are just pointing out obvious things right now. You're a stupid person. You're bad faith. You're not engaging this properly. You're removing so much to push a bullshit narrative that doesn't even make sense. When you start adding in the rest of the context, it changes the dynamic entirely.
Red is Cinder's manager. Boyfriend aside, yes, he does speak for her and on behalf of her, just like my manager speaks on behalf of me when talking with potential sponsorships.
I want nothing to do with it.
That's his goal. However, do I know everything he says to those with prospective sponsors in DMs? Well, unless we share our DMs, no. I have enough trust in my manager to think that he won't go behind my back and begin saying or doing stupid stuff with a potential client.
That's different here. Again, we're talking about not just a manager, but a boyfriend. There's multiple different levels to this, and people that constantly talked about business.
I do know that if I wanted to see these conversations, he would give them to me. And he kind of has to because it's about me. I guess what I'm saying here is I don't believe that Sinder knew explicitly everything he was saying. She admits in her apology that when it came to Nanolis and working with her, quote, Red was the one among solely doing the communication about new plans and negotiations through his private DMs.
Yeah, this is an example of her throwing Red under the bus, because nobody believed this shit. Not one person believed this shit. People saw this coming from a mile away when she threw Red under the bus. She admitted to knowing what was going on there. You're just ignoring that fact or choosing not to believe that fact. God damn it, you're a nutwad.
Unquote. Meaning that he took care of it all and she trusted him to communicate what she wanted. Now, due to him being her long-distance boyfriend, that she admits she talked about her issues, I can believe that he took both business and relationship to a new level and used his power level to combine both and cause issues for people that Sinder was having internal strife with.
Yeah. Okay, let's play along with this. Sinder should have known better, and yeah, Sinder was treating her friends badly behind the scenes, including Bao, including Silverveil, including Shy Lily. All these people were being treated poorly behind the scenes. You're not even bringing up the person that was also blacklisted, Cottontail. Cottontail even knew them behind the scenes. But hey, all the people that knew each other, engaged with each other, you know, went on vacations together, did all sorts of shit together. Yeah, let's just ignore what they all had to say about who these people were personally in real life.
But is this really Cinder's fault? Again, I will say that she definitely shouldn't have chosen her boyfriend, someone she was emotionally tied to handle her image. Overall, I think that in itself is a more appropriate thing to be upset with. Although, if you were to get upset over that, a lot of female VTubers would end up getting canceled because, let's be honest, lots of them have made their significant others their business partners.
No, that wasn't the point, you dimwit. The point wasn't just what Nanolis was doing, it was what Sinder was doing, it was what they were both doing, and obviously the fact that they both knew what was going on there. They knew what was happening there, and it was the manipulation, the gaslighting, the mistreatment of individuals. It wasn't just, well, you know, my boyfriend was doing this, you know, my boyfriend's the manager, blah, blah, blah. No, it was so much more. Why do you keep ignoring that? Again, you've made a straw man argument. This whole video is just a straw man. Straw man and bad faith. That's all this video is. There is no evidence here. You guys, I'm not even shitting you. For 3 months, they've said that they had the smoking gun to prove that this whole thing was a lie, that this whole thing was bad faith, manipulation, filled with people that just didn't know what the truth was. Where's this evidence? We are almost an hour in. I haven't seen any of this evidence. In fact, all I've seen is you removing context to support some sort of twisted narrative. They said that there was full-on Twitter tweets out there that say they were never friends. Where are those tweets? Where is all this magical smoking gun evidence that you said exists the entire time? All I've seen is you will manipulate the context and remove shit to support your own narrative.
I don't have a list handy, but ladies.
Wait, you don't have a list handy? Bullshit.
Stop hiring your man to manage your business. If you make a lot of money, hire someone else. It would definitely be very awkward if you break up with him later and you still need him to manage you. Anyway, while we don't have tangible evidence to suggest that Sinder actually knew, she has admitted to at least one count of knowingly asking for and trying through Red to get Nano to cancel a model.
Wait, so she knew at least one time, but there's no evidence that she knew about all of them. I mean, we know about one, though. We know about one. And, I mean, there's no way we could take that and predict that more than likely she did it on multiple times and multiple occasions on multiple people, including Bao. Mind you, she knew Bao was getting a nano model. Bao talked about it behind the scenes. In the Girly Pop DMs, Bao even showed that evidence. Oh, we're not going to bring that up, but hey, magically, Nano canceled, and, you know, I know that she canceled on Silverveil because I had this weird thing with Silverveil, but, you know, that's not even important here. You shared this on Facebook and X. Thank you, Irish Whips. I appreciate it.
That would be Silvervale. In her apology, she states, quote, there was only one specific creator we were responsible for naming and pressuring Nano into reconsidering projects
Bullshit. Bullshit. Because if you admit to this one, more than likely, you did it to multiples.
with, unquote. This is supported by the fact that in the other DM'd exchange with Sinder, the talk revolves around Silvervale and the exclusivity deal. On 211.
So then why does Cottontail get blacklisted? Why does Bao get blacklisted? Why does any of this happen? See, the problem with what you're trying to do here is, oh my god, they admitted to the Silvervale thing, but you knew about the Bao thing. You knew. You want to know how you knew? You were in the girly pop chat. You saw Bao talking about it. Bao even showed the model. Bao was so happy about it. And you saw how devastated she was when Nano canceled. You were there. You even responded to it, Cinder. So you knew that there was at least two. So if we already saw that she lied about the Bao one, said that I only did it once, but we know that you knew about the Bao one, then logic would dictate she knew about all of them. I can't believe you were ignoring that fact, Oko. Actually, I can, because you don't like context or bringing any of those factors up in any of this shit. But hey, we'll continue.
25, we get the only real confirmed time that Cinder acknowledges that she had previously talked with Red and agreed on trying to get Nano to not work with someone, albeit in an odd and roundabout way. Nano would state, quote, I just don't want to be dragged on any personal issues like that. After all, Silver is still a client, and it makes me anxious and kind of destroys my mental to do this kind of deal, unquote. Side note, while I do think this is a new conversation, I do wonder if this is the second time that the talk of icing out Silver is mentioned between Cinder and Nano.
It more than likely is the second time. It probably isn't the first time that this whole conversation came up. I don't know why you need to keep doing these weird side notes.
Based off of how the conversation went. Cinder's reply would be, quote, I get it, Nano, and it was unfair to push this on you, unquote, which to me is confirmation at the very least that she knows and agrees that she wanted it to happen. But for the rest,
She knew about the Bao one. Fuck off.
Personally just don't believe it. Now, to be fair,
You don't have to. Okay, then you don't believe reality. You don't believe reality at that point. You can't be this way and then say, well, she didn't know about the rest, the Bao. Cinder knew about the Bao model because Bao talked about it behind the scenes constantly to all the girly pops and to all of her friends, including Cinder. Cinder was in the girly pop chat. Cinder even was so happy that she's getting a nano model. Then magically, when all these conversations about exclusivity are going on that obviously Cinder knows about, because even Cinder said, well, I also wanted an exclusivity deal on all this. I wanted that. Magically, Bao's model gets canceled. But you don't even acknowledge that this happened. You don't even acknowledge. You just go like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know this. But you knew the exclusivity was going on. So magically, this person that you're trying to push to be exclusive cancels on somebody who's your best friend and causes a massive devastation. And you don't even go like, hey, I know we're trying to push the exclusivity, but can you make this one, just this one for my friend? You don't. Didn't do that at all. That context there destroys everything that you're saying here, Oko. But hey, again, context matters, guys.
fair to both sides. I'm willing to be proven wrong. However, with the evidence, or really lack thereof, it isn't enough for me to believe that she signed off on everything or knew what Red was doing. What I do have instead is evidence of hearsay from the affected parties. Nano in her doc alleges that Cinder knew. Lily and Bao used their experiences, with Cinder claiming that she knew.
I know lots of you are probably men, so you wouldn't maybe quite get it, but as a woman, you can't not get along with another woman based on a gut feeling. You can't do that. So most people stay back, usually when you have a gut feeling, in my case anyways.
Sorry, I had a DM that popped up. What the fuck? I'm so lost on why are we here now out of the blue? Why are we here now? Why did you bring up the Bao shit? What?
Is evidence of hearsay from the affected parties. Nano in her doc alleges that Cinder knew. Lily and Bao used their experiences, with Cinder claiming that she knew.
That's not hearsay. That's evidence, you nitwit.
I know lots of you are probably men, so you wouldn't maybe quite get it, but as a woman, you can't not get along with another woman based on a gut feeling. You can't do that. So most people stay back, usually when you have a gut feeling, in my case anyways. Usually when you have a gut feeling, you stay back and you observe. You take distance. I'm a very distant, very in my own lane kind of person to begin with. I'm very distant, very minding my own business, very just me and myself time, you know. Usually you stay back and you observe for an entire year of how nothing goes wrong and how your friends like that friend and how everything seems peachy. And then you're like, you know what? My gut feeling fucking ass. This is the reason I'm constantly constipated. My gut feeling ass. I fucking knew it. Shouldn't have trusted it. You
I don't know literally what this is supposed to mean. I don't. I quite literally don't know what this is supposed to mean.
You know what? Should have trusted it. Yeah, I'm sure guys can also be catty bitches, yeah.
And I'm sure many
I don't know what the fuck that was supposed to prove or anything like that. That she had a gut feeling that something bad was going to happen or that girls are catty bitches. Okay. I don't know what you were trying to do there.
secondhand accounts could come out and claim that based on alleged relationships between Red and Cinder, she either knew or didn't know.
Wait. So you're just talking. Wait. What is this? Before I start, I want to point out why I'm addressing both Cinder and Redacted Red, despite the messages being largely from Redacted. Many times throughout the messages, the words "we," "were," "our" occur numerous times as, okay, yeah, so this is from Bao's document, so I don't...
Alleged relationships between Red and Cinder, she either knew or didn't know.
So you're not going to bring up the Bao model?
But to be honest, that really is all it is. It's all alleged based on hearsay, thoughts, and feelings.
Okay, so you're not going to mention the Bao model. You're not going to mention the Bao model. Adam Raid, shout out, Adam. Shout out to you, buddy. You're not mentioning the Bao model. The Bao model is a hard fact. I'm sorry to say that. That's a hard fact. If you're going to ignore the Bao model, then your entire argument has just been destroyed. The Bao model is key to a lot of the stuff and actually disproves that she only knew about one. It tells you she knew about at least two of them, but... what the fuck? What do I know? What do I know?
And I'm going to be honest with you. I really don't trust or like hearsay. It doesn't win court cases, and it doesn't decide if someone is going to be acquitted.
This doesn't matter. This isn't a court of law, you dumb fuck.
It's often discarded in court because it can't be substantiated by fact. And...
okay, fact of the matter. Bao was in the girly pop chat. Cinder was in the girly pop chat. Cinder knew what was going on in the girly pop chat. Bao was constantly talking about her model in the girly pop chat. Again, these were things that actually Bao showed and Bao talked about. And because she's an affected party, her opinion would not just be hearsay in this. Bao also showed off the model at TwitchCon to Cinder. That was a fact. And then Bao was devastated when her model was canceled. Because of Cinder. But hey, we're not going to bring those things up. That's hearsay, guys. That's hearsay. That is hearsay, okay?
To be honest, you should be glad that's how it goes. And I know for a fact that if any of the victims in this case were facing the same barrel, they would hope that you would give them the same grace. By the way, speaking of not knowing your manager is a scumbag, Bao herself can probably relate a little bit, as she has had issues in the past with managers herself. It would kind of be rude for me to say that she knew she was being scammed, so vice versa, it absolutely applies here. If Bao didn't know she was being scammed, Cinder should be granted some of the same clemency.
Wait. No, these are different. This is a different situation altogether. This was a different situation involving scamming and people manipulating Bao. This was a much different situation than anything here because that guy wasn't even involved relationship-wise with Bao. You are again trying to use this as some sort of proof when Red and Cinder were completely different shit there. What the fuck?
Boyfriend or not, unless she was scanning his messages all the time, I think you'd be a massive hypocrite for saying otherwise. Now, personally, when it does come to Bao, I don't have all the info, and you could argue that she wasn't dating the said manager, but I really...
yes, you that is the argument right there. She wasn't dating them. I don't know what the fuck you are on about, okay? I don't. I legitimately don't know what you're on about.
I really don't feel like that matters in this case. In fact...
no, it does matter. It matters a lot. Actually, it matters a lot. The Buff Pup video, the people that knew them outside of the fact, the people that actually knew them, that matters.
I'm going to take it a
yes,
step
he
further.
is just lying.
How many times have we seen scandals by celebrities where they are suing managers for mismanagement of their estate, or...
none of this is relevant to this particular situation. That is completely different. Actually, this is all hearsay. If you want to keep doing the hearsay arguments and hearsay shit going on right here, all of this is hearsay because it doesn't matter to this point. You are just lying and being completely bad faith and bringing up other shit that doesn't actually have any relevance here.
or harming them or other people. Should we blame any celebrities for not knowing their managers took advantage of them or stole money from them? The overarching point I'm trying to make right now is that we don't know. And personally, I don't think Cinder did either.
You have no proof to say that she didn't know. that's your feeling. And again, where's everybody that lied? Where's the lying? Again, this whole video was they lied to you. So where did they lie to me? In fact, the only person I see that has more than likely lied is you.
Evidence to it being truth just isn't supported. It could very well be that she vented to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend then took it upon himself to get back at any of the girls she vented on, and by happenstance, when it came to Silvervale, she agreed to and okayed the idea of icing Silvervale out of a model. Now, I do think that regardless of how many people she knew or didn't know, it's still gross and not okay that she acted like this. Apology aside, I do think that she should be heavily critiqued for this. Granted, she has, and I think her being gone for as long as she is, lead me to believe that she's done some way of recognition of what she knew was wrong and is taking time away. I can only hope that she gets a therapist to talk through some of this grief that she's dealing with. Speaking more on the apology itself, well, I think it's okay. It definitely left me, and
It was entirely shit. I don't know what the hell you're even on about, okay? That entire apology was shit because it wasn't actually her taking accountability or any responsibility for the actions that she took. That was just her throwing Red under the bus the entire time. That was not an okay apology. That was one of the most worst apologies I've ever seen. What the little fuck? So where is the whole lying? Okay, we have less than an hour left in this video. Where's the lying?
sure many other
Actually less than 30 minutes because it's an hour and 26-minute video. We're at 48, so we have about 30 minutes or so, almost 30 minutes until we get to the lying. So where are they lying? Jeremy, you wasted an hour of your life. Quite literally, I did.
people feeling that it lacked quite a bit of substance.
It was just her throwing Red under the bus.
Did come out roughly 2 days after the first Google Doc, and in my opinion, lacks a lot of thought or depth. To me, it reads like she wanted to spit out a lot of her own thoughts and then get off the internet. I don't doubt that if I was in her shoes,
No, that was her throwing Red under the bus. Why? What the literal fuck? Simple human psychology dictates that was her throwing Red under the bus. Anybody that has any sort of common sense saw that that was her throwing Red under the bus. Again, this is coming from somebody who says that at the beginning of this video, I understand human psychology and human emotion, so I feel like I have the authority to talk on all this. No, you don't. Basic human psychology saw what was going on there, and people saw what was going to happen from a fucking mile away. She threw Red under the bus.
I'd want to say sorry and hide, especially with some of the stuff going on around her, that being the stress of a house being built. Regardless, I would have rather she said nothing and just went quiet, keeping
No, that would have actually been... I don't think that would have made it any better. That would have been a whole lot worse. I think that would have actually been worse because then everybody would have believed it all. And I don't know what would have been better. If she said nothing... Actually, if she... You want to know why Oko's saying it would be better if she said nothing? You want to know why? Because then Oko couldn't say, well, I mean, have to do the whole, well, she did admit to a lot of the stuff being true. If she didn't admit to any of that stuff being true, Oko could have ran with this a whole lot longer on the whole they lied thing. But because that document exists, Oko's entire argument is bullshit.
her statements to nothing other than just saying that she fired Red and moved on. That might have been better, but hindsight is 2020.
No, it wouldn't have been better. Nano's not innocent. How's Nano not innocent?
I think the entire time I was working on this video, from the moment I read the Google Docs back into April to now, I have wondered quite a lot on the involvement of Nanolis in this entire situation. Based on the DMs I've seen, that being all the ones that they have decided to publicly share, I don't really believe that Nanolis was manipulated. Instead, the
How?
DMs between Red and Nano appear to me as a mix between a personal friend and a business partner. Something that I can believe, considering that Nano has been around ever since the inception of Sinder as a VTuber, with Nano being the one who drew the first Sinder model back in 2022. A lot of the DMs back and forth do appear to be banter between friends. At no point in the Google Doc does Nano choose to share instances where she has asked Red to stop gossiping about Cinder's insecurities as a VTuber. At no point does she say something like,
Well, I can actually say this to this point, actually. Would have probably been nice to have that in the document, but at the same time, we do have plenty of evidence of her actually being gaslit and manipulated. We do. The whole, like, it's good business, it's good business. Oh, I would have felt bad if you wanted to leave it, or anything like that. Yeah, it probably would have been good to have her say, hey, quit gossiping with me. That would have been a good idea to add into that, but we didn't get that.
hey, this is an appropriate conversation as it revolves other clients of mine and I'd prefer to stay out of it. No, instead, with what we see, she's choosing to engage, and sometimes with emojis, and sometimes with a, yeah, that's sus. And I can only imagine.
But she did also show, didn't she show like how her mental thought process were going down the drain in some other DMs and how she was being mistreated, how she just couldn't handle it? I mean, even who her DM with Cinder, she even said, hey, I just don't feel good. I'm not taking this mentally well. And Cinder just was like, oh, it's okay, but then proceeded to gaslight her and manipulate her into basically saying it's just business the entire time. That was a thing that showed up even in your video prior to this, so you have to take that into account. I can have my criticisms or critiques of the doc itself, but the doc itself is still strong.
And what she said in the DMs
Hail,
that were
Dom.
cut out. Now, to be fair, she does, however, on 211 tell Cinder that she doesn't wish to be dragged into the drama since it's destroying my mental. But outside of that, I don't see any points where she's asking Red to pull back and stop bringing up drama. And to be honest,
I might argue these could count, but she never says, wait, I don't want to take sides on drama or situations. I think that is pretty, I think that's pretty cut and dry. I think that's pretty cut and dry. So this whole thing here just destroyed your entire argument. I don't want to take sides. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of this. Yeah, I'm sorry. Your take here is bullshit.
and I'm willing to be proven wrong, but this is only what
I mean, right here.
I've seen publicly. To me, this is how I read the entire situation with the DMs between Nanoless and Red. I think Nano likes to gossip, and at some point decided she didn't with Red.
You need a whole lot more evidence to support that claim, buddy.
It could be that she felt hurt by the comments that Red decided to bring up about model value, or it could be that she simply decided to step away from drama, or something like that. I kinda got that inference based off of the Lily stream she did.
You're retarded.
Either way, I do find it incredibly irresponsible for someone like Nano, an artist who makes tens of thousands of dollars a year, on models to be gossiping with one of the clients about—
No. You have no idea that she was gossiping behind the scenes. In fact, your actual screenshot shows that she doesn't want to take sides in regards to her client. So you have no idea what was actually going on there. You're just inciting that. That is bad faith. You are implying context that does not exist. And in fact, the context that does exist within the actual screenshot itself disproves what it is that you're doing there. You are bringing in your own out-of-pocket evidence that has nothing actually to back it up and actually has stuff to disprove what it is that you're saying right there. So yeah, checkmate. Again, context matters, guys. I'm taking this good faith. We're not gonna ignore all the hearsay or anything like that. No, this is all hearsay. This is your own personal opinion here. This is not important or relevant at all. You are just making shit up at this point.
other clients and other potential clients that she could work with. Now, that may sound rich coming from a drama tuber like myself. However, I know when to separate who I should gossip with and who I should remain professional with. I gossip with me.
No, you don't. And also, yeah, this one was beautiful. Oh, I love this dude right here. He's such a massive schizo, even bigger than Oko.
Too. He's my best friend and my gossip buddy. I don't
Yeah, I would not admit to that at all. I would not admit to that at all.
sit with my model artist and talk to him about tea, either involving me or others that he could potentially work with. I talk to him about my life, his life, and the next piece of artwork I'd like to get, and
Oh, he talks about my life and his life. Okay, I want to see these DMs then. Share them. Prove it. Prove it. You love sharing DMs and talking about DMs and what goes on in DMs all the time. Share them.
talking to him about artwork of other friends that I know he's working on. That is where it should end with these professional dealings. And if my artist was gossiping like this with other people about me and taking deals of this nature, I would never retain him.
Never took the deal. So that deal was never actually taken, and I get why you're putting this in here right now and why you said what you said over on X the other day when it came to Shy Lily and Nano. Yeah, and this doesn't make any sense. So right now you're just going like everybody should probably drop Nano, but nobody is dropping Nano. None of this makes literal sense when it comes to also one of her first contact individuals being gaslit, being manipulated, and the fact that she said, I don't want to be a part of this.
I would not call him out like this, but I would never get art with him in the future. And I'm quite surprised that people still choose to trust Nanoless after seeing what she has posted in these DMs herself. To be
Oh, good to know that you're a bad faith person that is adding in context and hearsay from your own perspective that doesn't actually matter.
honest, I do wonder how that conversation, by the way, went when she approached Lily. Maybe it went something like, yeah, sorry, I was gossiping with one of your friend's managers about you and your friends for a few years.
No, actually, Shy Lily said what happened here. Shy Lily confronted Nano on why the heck she was basically ghosting her all the time, and Nano just spilled the beans on the manipulation, the gaslighting, and everything that was going on, saying that I don't feel good, something bad's going on. Showed Shy Lily the DMs on what was going on behind the scenes, and Shy Lily was the one that actually started triggering, like, hey, we need to tell people about this. It's actually fucked up and screwed up, and this is not right. This is not what friends do to each other. Yeah, that whole friends thing that you obviously don't have. I don't believe you have any actual friends.
And now I kind of want to come clean. It gets even crazier when you look at Nanoless's website and find out that she has a price for NDA. I wonder if these conversations with Red would be a breach of said.
You fucker. That is hearsay right there. You can say, well, she has this thing for an NDA, but I wonder if she breached her NDA. I wonder if she did something bad there. I wonder if she did something bad. That's you trying to get drama right there. That is not relevant to any of this at this point in time. So shut the literal fuck up.
NDA if Lily or Bao or any of these other creators bought one from her. Side note to Lily and Bao, if you did get NDAs with Nano, I consider looking into a lawyer right now.
No, fuck off. Fuck off. You have no room to talk on any of that shit. You schizo fuck. That is not something you need to be bothering with. It's pretty clear there were no NDAs involved in any of this shit. And this was more than just my business. There were friendships involved in all this. There was manipulation. I can't continue just going on this whole entire tirade over and over again, but it's so fucking clear that you don't even know what you're arguing anymore and what you're arguing against. That is all hearsay, my good sir, who wants to bring in this entire thing about hearsay and how we need to have context and everything like that. You're trying to bring in context that is irrelevant. You're trying to bring in factors that are irrelevant to the grand discussion of all this because you are trying to manipulate everybody right now. You are so bad faith, so obnoxious, so entitled, such a massive twat nugget. I can't believe anybody actually sits here and listens to you and believes anything that you actually have to say on just about anything. I can't believe that there's people that stream with you and think that you have any sort of good opinions because all we ever see of you is bad faith and manipulation. When you were going out there calling out V-tweeters and people like that who were just unhinged all the time, you were at least decent, but goddamn, when you're doing these exposés, you're shit.
On the flip side, if they didn't, it still really doesn't look good to gossip like this when your business is drawing art for huge VTubers for absolutely shitastically large amounts of money. Along with what I've already said about the matter, I'm not fully in belief that Nano canceled all these models at the manipulation of Red. In the DMs between her and Red, she has stated she has canceled commissions due to her own health. This is
health that was brought upon by her own by her mental health and the well-being that she has been undergoing due to what was going on between her, Red, and Sinder.
Something I do believe, and I do believe it because
Mio is Nano's, I don't
I've seen messages from her on many occasions stating how she's sick, infirm, or that she can't do much that day. This is something that I...
Okay, and? I don't know what any of this has to do here. 3/7/2024. Oh, I wonder if it's the MG anxiety. It's the anxiety. This is actually while this was all going on. So yes, this was the anxiety. This was shit that was actually going on right now. But hey, I mean, ignore that.
Personally don't think you should blame her for it, and I pray that she gets help so that she doesn't have these issues in the future. But I do bring it up to show that I believe that at least some of these models could...
Where did you get all these screenshots? By the way, again, going back to the Rima, we know that we know that Oko manipulates screenshots constantly. So where did you get all these screenshots? I'd actually love to see all these screenshots and where their sources are if we're going to be talking about sources, because obviously they're all tight. We don't see what all their responses are. So if we're going to actually use some of the arguments that you are, all these are out of context. I don't know what's actually going on here. What are we telling all the responses to? I'm still with a cold. If I die, tell Jaden happy birthday. Who's that response to? Please.
Have been canceled due to her health, and now she's trying to use the Sinder...
I can't stop sleeping. What are all these in response to? All I'm seeing is nanolist. I mean, you have this entire tirade of we need the entire documents, we need all this, we need all this, we need all this. Okay, then bring it to me. Show me, what is she responding to all the time, huh? You already put that entire statement out there. You said that you wanted that for nanolist. Okay, then you act the way you want to act here. Show me all the responses. Show me how this is all going down. Show me all these DMs, because if you're going to make this a standard for other people, you yourself have to follow that standard. I don't even know what any of these are in reference to.
Situation as a cover instead of admitting that. Now, while I can believe that she felt...
Welcome home, I'm dying. Okay, I don't know what any of this has to do with this. I don't know the context of any of these things. Wow, this is... God damn it, this is so fucking simple to do.
Inclined to cancel some work because of Red talking to her. I personally think that, alongside that, health could have played a role, and I don't believe that Nano is being 100% honest about all of the canceled models. Even still, after reading these DMs, I don't believe that manipulation took place. I don't see a smoking gun to show that Red or Sinder masterminded the poor artist Nano to cancel work. All I see is drama, and two unprofessional people gossiping about others in their lives.
If we want to talk about unprofessional, like I already said, you ragged on Nano for not showing all the entire DMs and not sharing all these links and everything like this. You're doing that right now, all while trying to paint Nano as a bad person. When, again, Nano doesn't speak English as her first language and was being gaslit and manipulated by somebody who made her, like, super famous. But hey, we're going to hold her account for not sharing all these DMs. Well, I'm not going to share all the DMs and the sources ever. By the way, again, I'm going to say go check out the Rima video in which Rima flat out shows how badly they manipulate these things. It's from the Analyst Discord, which is public. Okay, that's cool. I'm not trying to like discredit what you're saying there. That's actually cool. I would love to see that. But like what I'm trying to point out here, Juicebox, is they made the standard that you need to show all the DMs.
Now.
Oh, shit. You need to show all the DMs. You need to show all the evidence in response to all this. You need to like actually dig deep into all these little factors here. And like full threads, show it all. If you're going to apply that standard to others, you yourself need to also hold that standard to yourself. All at the same time, we also have to remember, I'm going to harp on that Rima video. We know that Oko manipulates DMs hardcore. We know that Oko and Oko's camps manipulates DMs, crops them out of context, hard freaking core. I shit you not. Go watch the Rima video. I've watched it already on stream. I'm going to have to clip that out and put it out as a video because more people need to realize just how bad faith and manipulative Oko is. This is not somebody to trust at all in this regard. And when I'm seeing him do this right here, it's not a win. It's actually me being more hesitant to listen to anything he has to say, especially after the Rima video.
On to more of Nano not being completely honest about things, I do have major issues
I don't think you're honest.
with how the DMs were filtered and separated for viewing.
You can't do that. You just did that whole thing right there. You now can't have that standard after you just did that to her. That's so fucking out of pocket. That's not fair. You're holding her to a different account than what you just laid out there. That's bullshit and entire bad faith.
Many of these DMs shared between Red and Nano take place on the aforementioned January 15th date. What's also included littered throughout the entire Google Doc is DMs from another date on November of 2023 and a couple other scattered dates of various years.
Because they were examples. They didn't need to be within the actual context of anything. They were different examples responding to different moments and different things. They weren't an expose. But you're trying to do an expose here, but nothing makes sense.
The lack of a coherent
And you're holding other people to standards you yourself aren't following.
timeline deeply bothers me. Unfortunately, and this is just a fact that I kind of have to deal with, not everybody reads dates. Not everybody notices that the times and days are separated from each other. And people can, in my opinion, definitely have assumed that chunks of this are at the same time, same conversation, and same day. Hell, it took me reading Nanolis's doc quite a few times to realize that there was 2 instances of Red mentioning the value of her models, something that I only thought happened once. Just look at this. Did you notice?
It took you 2 times to do this? No, I noticed this. I noticed this my first reading. I don't know why you think this is a big reveal. All I know is you didn't read the document correctly. Like, it took you 2 times? I figured that out on the first try. Good for you for not noticing something that's super easy when you start looking at the actual dates. That you should do every time. But it took you multiple tries to do this. And also, you still don't understand what any of these screenshots were in reference to because they weren't supposed to be the expose. They were examples of what was going on.
This? I didn't. And I read this live, on my live stream, with people in chat. And I didn't notice this. It's misleading at the least, and it's very malicious at worst. However, I can't get too mad at just Nano because she isn't the only one who worked on this, which brings me to my final point before my overall speculation.
You can't say speculation. You have to have hard facts. If you're trying to say that they lied to you, you have to have hard evidence on all this. Did you just ask Cinder? Did you ask Cinder, Lily? Why does this have to do with anything?
One of the reasons why I chose to make this video period was to highlight an issue I see with the way that this story has been told. At the beginning, I briefly recapped a situation where a content creator built a narrative of something, and because of his rank and social clout,
I don't really give a fuck about what you have to say here. What's the purpose of her talking to Lily? Like, what's the purpose of Lily talking to Cinder and in regards to any of this? All Lily saw was manipulation, gaslighting. She was already seeing just how bad Cinder was acting to other people. Again, the whole Numi concert situation and what she was willing to do to basically ditch Numi. There was other regards that were going on at that point in time. Really, she didn't feel like she needed to talk to her. She saw enough.
people believed and ran with whatever he said until someone came along and said, "No, you." The narrative that was told by the Nanolist doc, in a very shaky manner, makes it sound like Sinder was this mastermind, evil woman that used her connection with Nanolist to withhold models from multiple people.
Why are you also only focusing in on the Nanolis doc? Why aren't you bringing up the Bao doc? Seriously, why aren't you bringing up the Bao doc? Like, I'm not going to say the Sinder doc has anything to do with this, but the Bao doc actually has a whole lot of credence. You're just focusing solely on the Nanolis. Why aren't we talking about Bao? Why aren't we talking about Cottontail? Why aren't we bringing up the Silverveil doc? Why aren't we bringing up any of these other documents that do have relevance to this entire discussion? We are almost an hour in, guys. And we haven't talked a single bit about Bao doc. We haven't talked really about Bao's video. We haven't talked about the Silverveil doc. We haven't talked about Silverveil's video. We've only seen snippets of Shylily streams or any of the Shylily statements. We've only really been tackling the Nanolis doc. But there's other documents that were super important on why this got so out of hand. You're not even tackling the stalking. You're not even tackling the constant harassment, the constant mistreatment of others. And you're really just glossing over the whole blacklisting of other people. Like, you don't have enough time to hit everybody else. If you're just solely focusing in on those two individuals, that's not all that there was. And all at the same time, you've been ignoring so much context. And when I'm skimming through, I see Shylily, I see Numi, but you're not even showing Numi. Okay, you're now going to tackle... I don't think you ever go over the Bao doc or any of the other docs. This entire video is null and void. You can't go over the Sinder situation without bringing every aspect of the Sinder situation. I could argue you can ignore the spite. I could argue you can ignore spite. You can ignore the guy that she cheated with. They're like, those two things you could probably ignore, but you have to have what the editor said. You have to have what Silverveil said. You have to have what Cottontail said, because Cottontail was also one of the people that got blacklisted. You have to have Shylily, because she was the initiating party. You have to have Nanolis, obviously. You have to have Bao, and what Bao said. And I would argue you do have to have the Buff Pup thing and anybody that actually knew them behind the scenes. Those things are actually relevant to this whole entire discussion. But removing any of those factors, your video is null and void and doesn't actually cover the whole aspect of the Cinder thing. You've just moved it all to this weird little, very, very tiny area. And by removing all the context and everything else that was important to this overall situation, you now have this entire straw man argument that you made up yourself and think that you're winning this battle when you're not. You actually look insanely retarded.
And while I can agree...
And by the way, actually, the more I think about this, Shylily only recently got a Nanolis model. Bao never got a Nanolis model. When we go back, this literally just crossed my mind. And I don't want to go fully back, but go back over to when she said, you know, the NDAs. And if you have an NDA, you know, with Nanolis on whether or not you yourself are gonna, you know, have a model with her, any contracts with her, they didn't have an NDA with her at the time. Neither one of them had a nano model. In fact, Bao's nano model was destroyed. So obviously they didn't have that. Why the fuck aren't you bringing that factor up? You say that they, oh, well, you know, if you have a thing with them, if you have a contract with them, more than likely you should be doing this. But Nano didn't make any of their old models. In fact, Bao was destroyed when she didn't have a Nano model. And I'm bringing that back because that literally just dawned on me. Remember that whole NDA thing and how the NDA, if you have a model with them, maybe you should be looking into a lawyer. They can't because they didn't have an NDA with her. That's retarded. The more I'm thinking about that, the more I'm like, you don't even know that basic factor. Neither one of them had an NDA because neither one of them had a model from Nano. I didn't realize how retarded you truly were, Oko. That factor is important here.
That Cinder has quite a lot of growing to do on her own. I just don't believe Nanolis or the others on any of what was portrayed. What I see instead is a manager, who is a long-distance boyfriend that took the ill-mannered words of his significant other and twisted them into an extreme, and used those to try and get one of his friends, an artist, to cancel work and instead give favor to his partner. And if it truly and honestly is the case that Cinder did not know any of what was going on, the question I started to ask myself was, well, why didn't anybody seem to ask? Did anybody think to approach Cinder and say, hey, do you know what's going on right now? Have you seen this? Do you sign off on all of this? I guess not.
Okay, none of this actually is relevant to the overall story. You're just trying to pull up another narrative. And again, actually, the moment I brought up, you know, the whole NDA thing that you tried to did, I should have brought that up sooner. But it literally just clicked in my head. You don't even know the situation. You retard. Literal retard. You don't even know the situation. Bao didn't have a contract because her thing was null and void because she got canceled by Nano. Nano canceled that thing, so it doesn't even matter at that point in time because she got blacklisted by Sinder. But hey, we're not going to bring up any of those facts here, guys.
According to both Shy Lily and Bao the Whale, the timeline for this all happening started sometime after April 12th when Lily got wind of these DMs through a, quote, singular leak.
A leak that was from Nano.
Dominoes fell. The dominoes fell. The actual starting point, the dominoes fell when one thing leaked. One singular thing. Like 5 or so days ago. One thing leaked. A singular thing. And I go, it was about me being slandered, throwing all kinds of accusations around to Nano, making me seem problematic, weird, making me sound like a person someone wouldn't want to work with because who does those things? They were saying I dodged collabs with them.
After Lily was given more, she encouraged Nano to share this with others, including people like Bao, who was currently in surgery. Then, eventually, a small group between these three, and potentially others, would be created, and they eventually decided, after doing a lot of talking, to make these Google Docs.
Respect to my friends, we all
It was basically a day.
decided, after all of the receipts and obviously being very emotionally unstable, to sleep over it for a night. Obviously, we were all ready for blood. We were like, what the fuck? No way. But we still decided to sleep a night over it. Give it one night. Let's sleep over it. One night. The next day, once everyone was awake and had time to deal with their emotions, we all still knew this has to happen.
I'd like to reiterate, at this point, did nobody think to ask Sinder?
Because they saw that she was a manipulative individual and was going to gaslight everybody. I mean, you fell for it. You thought that that apology was good.
Now, to be fair to Lily, she does say that they did talk to Sinder, although the way that she talks about it in this clip...
And the only time she ever felt sorry in both the apology and before, guess what? When she was put in her fucking place. People saying, why didn't you handle it private? We did once. We did. And she's only deflecting and pretending to be apologetic when put on the spot. No proper apology from her before.
Actually, that's important. Yeah, guess what? Okay, I would like to see that. I probably don't need to see that. There's a difference there. There's what I would like to see and what I need to see. She said that they actually confronted her. They're not going to share those DMs. There's probably a lot of things that got said there that we don't need to see. Be nice to see it. It would probably bolster their point. I'm not going to deny that, but I have no reason to distrust anything that they're saying here. You think I should, but I don't. Oko, you've tried to lay out this thing of why I should believe you because you're trying to say they lied, but you actually have no evidence that they lied once. You're just trying to assume that they lied.
The crash out. None.
To me, isn't actually talking about this situation in particular.
You have no idea that that's true or not. You have to take her at her word. And when I take her at her word, it actually kind of sounds like it was in regards to the situation.
Now, to be honest with you, and to be good faith to Lily, I really don't know what situation
You're not good faith.
previously it could be about. From what I've gathered, there has been alleged tensions for other things that is scattered through Lily and other VTubers' videos. Things like the V-Card release collabs that was pushed back, and a concert that the VTuber Numi had done. It could have been about one of those things, but when it comes to this situation itself, Lily does also state that she's had some sort of gut feeling about Cinder being a catty bitch. So, does this mean that she didn't reach out to her quote-unquote friend because of a gut feeling?
That's different. You're trying to say quote-unquote friend with Cinder. Shy Lily was maybe closer friends, but you're ignoring the other people that were friends. Shy Lily was friends with Bao. And more friendlier with Cinder. Bao was friends with Cinder. See, you're starting to mix up who was friends with who. And in the grand scheme of things, I could say Shy Lily was also friends with Numi. It was a big friend group. There was obviously in big friend groups. You have people that are more friendly with each other, more people that are probably closer friends. Like, I could argue that in the Ballbusters chats and the Ballbusters people, I'm closer with Adam, Static, and Gal than I am with Cloud or Alf. Like, I'm friends with all of them, but I'm friendlier with them because I do more stuff with them on a day-to-day basis. That's just human dynamics right there. And you're trying to say, well, they were friends, they engaged or anything like this, but different friend levels, different friend connections. This all kind of changes things.
Yeesh. I guess I'm glad Cinder isn't on death row and the court of public opinion isn't deciding her life based on gut feelings. Now,
I mean, you're doing a lot of shit based on gut feelings, and usually I actually say, listen to your gut, guys. Your gut's actually probably a good thing, because if I listened to my gut a whole lot more, I wouldn't be in a lot of situations I got in myself in.
I do have to say that while I don't like how Shy Lily decided to portray herself in her response stream, I will also say that I can understand the emotions, and I'll attempt to explain some of it based off of what I've seen.
Cloud, you're chopped liver? Yes, you are.
Lily had come to terms that the artist she wanted to work with had been gossiping about herself and friends around her with another friend's manager. I can't imagine the trust issues you might have with Nano, with potentially Sinder, and anybody else around you. I would be pissed off too, and would probably make choices to try and figure out who is truly responsible.
You're trying to do this weird thing of like, well, if I was in this position, but you weren't. You weren't in this situation. So try to quit trying to put yourself in the situation and use your own brain. You have to use their brain. So you have to think of what were they thinking of? How were they interacting with the situation? How were they engaging? That's why all those other interactions about, hey, the personal level, things like that, that comes into play in all this. You're trying to use your brain when your brain is too small to even figure out what 2 + 2 equals. These are different people's emotions and different people's thought processes. Quit trying to say, well, I would have done this, because you're not important to any of this. That's hearsay evidence that's not even relevant to the discussion at hand.
And then I would fire Nano, to be honest. And while I can sympathize with Shy Lily for the situation, I can't really sympathize with what she chose to do and some of what she chose to say.
No, you can. She went full mama bear. That was actually the first time people really saw her go full mama bear. It was pretty fucking epic.
This response, the Google Docs, which in my opinion was orchestrated by Lily herself, is an
Oh, she even admitted to it, so yeah. Yeah, I have no problem with him. You only have a problem with him because you didn't get what you wanted.
extremely emotional response with nothing but gut feelings or assumptions of Cinder's character. Now, while
Assumptions of Cinder's character, you know, the character that Bao and all of them were seeing for multiple years and thought it was one way and then found out immediately that it was something completely different. Yeah. It's just assumptions and gut feelings. That's why they went on this whole entire tirade. Like, there's not a whole lot of people that knew Cinder for a very long time, saw them in person, didn't interact with them in person. That definitely was not involved in this whole situation.
I can agree that missing Numi's concert is kind of sucky, or even
No, that's more than sucky. That's downright deplorable. In my fact, that would have been a cutoff point there, because the reality of why she missed Numi's concert was she let her know last fucking minute that she wasn't going to go after basically saying she was going to go, and they had to call Bao out to sing for her while Bao was struggling with, she had a slip disc in her jaw, so it actually hurt her to sing, and she did all that because of the V-Card collab. That was more than sucky. That was downright deplorable. A collab that could easily have been rescheduled. That was atrocious. You don't do that. That's fucked up.
calling yourself the Charizard of V-Card could be seen as haughty, these gut feelings led Shy Lily to act, kind of funny enough, a little bit like Sinder.
No. You see, the difference here, again, context matters to all these situations. The difference here is Cinder was going behind people's backs to backstab them and destroy their entire lives, you know, try to use them as stepping stones to the top. What Lily did was expose a fake person that was manipulating other people. There's a very big difference in how that all went down. You could say, well, they had similar characteristics or how it went all that. Not really. One is a friend doing a friend's job. The other is a catty bitch trying to use her friends as stepping stones. Actually, they weren't even friends. They were just stepping stones.
Yes. Based on this gut feeling, it sounded like Lily had begun forming thoughts on Cinder because of the little things that she saw and heard. And
little things, yes. Leaving Numi last minute in New York when she promised to come to New York to sing. Last minute, by the way, on this massive concert that costs a lot of money. That's just a little thing, guys. That's just a little thing. Yeah, you know, this tour that I've been doing that costs a lot of fucking money. I'm going to cancel on you last minute. What? No, we're here now. We need you. Nah, bye. Bao had an overnight out there. Like, when I say last minute, we're talking like 2 days before concert. That's how last minute it was. To do a collab. A V-Card collab that could have been rescheduled. That's a little thing, guys. That's a little thing. A little thing. That's more than a little thing. That's fucked up.
And instead of opening a dialogue and talking about it, reaching out and being the better person, as far as I can see, she let it fester.
You can have a completely different opinion as to how you would have tackled the situation. That doesn't matter. You tackling the situation is a different story altogether. This is how Lily tackled the situation. You might disagree with how she tackled the situation, but that's not relevant to the opinion here. This is the situation at hand.
Leading her to, in my opinion, becoming her own Cinder by letting her emotions speak for her.
You're retarded.
This led to actions that, in my opinion, are far past gross and kind of go beyond just venting somebody's frustrations.
No, you're retarded. This was Mama Bear in action, full takedown mode. Hopping up to the top rope, coming down with the chair right on the neck. That's what happened right there. Lily cut the cancer out like she should have. She was acting full Mama Bear. That makes sense. You might disagree, but that's you who disagreed. You in that situation might have had a completely different thought process as to how to tackle that situation, but that's you. That's a different situation. You weren't involved in the situation, so quit trying to act like you were, or you could have been, or anything like that. You're irrelevant. Your opinion on how they should have tackled the situation is irrelevant to the overall discussion.
She essentially insinuated that people could burn Cinder's merch, and speculated on Cinder's GamerSup shares getting bought up.
Again, if you cope by burning your merch, I am judging. You cope the way you want to cope. I cope.
She said if you cope by burning her merch, I ain't judging, you do you. I don't care.
Through memes and making fun of things, it also isn't fucking perfect. Maybe off topic what's going to happen with gamer subs, I don't know. But I know that they're trying to find something to handle the situation. I don't know though. But
She doesn't know. They're just trying to figure out how to handle the situation. She doesn't know. That's not a thing you just said there is supported by the clips you just shared.
obviously, they can't just say a drama pop up and be like, okay, bye. It's not how it works in the business way, sadly. It takes time. If I had to make a guess, her shares will simply be bought out.
Nothing you just said there makes like this clip actually disproves everything you just tried to say that she said. She advocated for burning their merch. She was like, if you want to, go ahead, do it. I'm not going to judge you. Cope you. You do you, boo. And then she advocated for her merch her stake being bought out. They're trying to figure out a thing. If I have to guess, they might buy her out. Yeah, that's definitely it. That's definitely it. I mean, remove the context. You can make these things sound incredibly bad, but she's actually just responding to chat, it sounds like. So, yeah, huh. Good for you, Oko. Again, bad faith.
If I had to make a guess, I'm not saying this will happen. If I, non-biased, non-gamer subs opinion, if I had to make a guess, her shares will probably just be bought out down.
So she guessed. Yeah, that's definitely bad, guys. She guessed on what was going to happen. She guessed. That's so awful.
But, again, don't take this as, Lily said that. No, I'm just saying, if I had to make a guess, that, you know.
Now, I know that GamerSubs is a privately owned company, but I do have to wonder if when Jay Schlatt caught wind of this, he probably would have told her to shut the fuck up.
We have no idea. You're, again, assuming things. This is all hearsay in your own opinion. None of this makes any sense. And quite frankly, Jay Schlatt probably did buy her out. We haven't heard anything from GamerSubs. In fact, I'm going to hop over to Cinder's whole thing right now. I'm gonna send a thing here. By the way, I just got a link for something that I don't know what that was a link to. I want to see this real quick. Nope, she's still a part of GamerSubs. This was quite just an opinion that was being made. She's still a part of GamerSubs as of right here. At GamerSubs, partial owner. So, not all things that you just said there don't really make any sense. It was just a speculation from Shy Lily. And she even said, this is not even what is going on. This is just me speculating. So everything she just said is nonsense.
It's not really a good idea to fly that kind of talk around.
But she was just speculating, saying, if I take a guess. This isn't even the GamerSub's own words. So the clip disproves everything you just said, you fucking nut.
It can lead to issues with the other private investors. It just doesn't sit well with me. Again, I don't doubt.
It doesn't matter if it doesn't sit well with you. It doesn't fucking matter. She was speculating. She was answering chat, you freak.
That Shy Lily is very emotional about the subject, both for herself and for those she...
That entire that clip that you just showed doesn't actually show emotion. It shows her taking a stab in the dark, not an official GamerSubs response, and her just guessing.
Considers her friends. I'm not going to get upset at her for being that. I would be too, but I can and will get upset with how she chose to respond. There is a little more I could say about this when it comes to Lily, but instead I wish now to focus on the overarching picture as a whole. I don't believe this is something that should have been...
So, wait, you're now just going to start going on the overarching picture. So who lied? Chat, we're going to keep going forward, but at the end of this, I want to ask you, so who lied? Where was the lie?
Made public. At least, not without trying to confront Sinder without her manager. The DMs we see alone are not enough proof to show that Sinder knew what was going on, and I feel as though I've made a good enough case to share that with you today.
No.
If you still believe that Sinder, who was living in her basement and in a long-term, long-distance relationship with her boyfriend, actually knew everything he was saying and fully endorsed what he did, I do apologize, but
in its
Accountability.
typical
What?
narcissistic
So, ever.
manipulation fashion. Like this whole document, like I said, if you don't see it that way, I don't blame you. Chances are you're too young and naive. You're just as gullible and easy to manipulate. If you don't see it, I fully get it. I don't
Wait, what did you say here? Because the document she's talking about is the Cinder doc.
manipulation fashion. Like this whole
Document, is that a Freudian slip? No, this clip comes out after the Cinder doc. You literally just clipped out all the context. This is her talking about the Cinder document, nobody else's document. This clip actually came after this document. So when she's saying this whole doc, she's talking about this. You fucking nut job. Holy shit balls. So bad faith. You removed all context there. That is manipulation. Hey, Shiloh's calling you out right here. Anybody who followed this whole drama knows when this entire clip came from. What she's talking about. She's talking about the fucking Cinder document. Ya nutcase.
Like I said, if you don't see it that way, I don't blame you. Chances are you're too young and naive. You're just as gullible and easy to manipulate. If you don't see it, I fully get it. I don't support it. I hope you'll eventually see it.
I'll agree that Cinder knew and asked for Silvervale herself to be blacklisted to some extent. But for everyone
Cinder knew, but an argument for Silvervale to be blacklisted. Okay, why? So we know that she did it once. Why don't we believe that she did it on everybody?
else, I can and do choose to believe that the other people gossiped about in Red/Nano's DMs is chalked up to professional requests by Cinder through Red, commingled with Red sharing Cinder's dirty Menhera moments to Nanoless. Now, if there is some grand piece of evidence that was, for some reason, never released, if Nano wants to share the cut-off DMs that she herself took that...
Why don't you share all the DMs that you, cut off and showed off throughout your entire video? Why don't you do it? I mean, you were in the Nano Discord. Why don't you show all that shit off? Because if you do, that great. I mean, you're holding her to a standard that you yourself aren't following.
proves without a shadow of a doubt Cinder knew, I will gladly make a second video to fix the record. However, as of right now, with what I'm able to see publicly, I don't really believe that the smoking gun exists.
Yeah, because you're retarded and you cut out so much context to fit a narrative that doesn't even exist. For fuck's sake, that Shiloh video is after the fact. Actually, here, let me do this. I'm fucking doing this. I'm fucking doing this. I'm fucking doing this. I'm fucking doing this. Let's go, people. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Shy Lily responds to Cinder doc. Here's this. Here's this. Okay, the date. April 28th, 2025 is when this clip goes up, okay? This is from the stream. This is Shilly fully debunks all of Cinder's apology. This was this stream where this whole thing came from. This was from the actual stream itself. That whole thing of how, oh, the Freudian slip, the doc, this was about this doc in question, which I need to see. When was this doc published? Can I see that? I'll probably have to go over to Cinder's thing. I'll have to probably go over to Cinder's frickin' thing. Let me go over to fucking Cinder's thing right now, okay? Because apparently we have to do this shit. Apparently I should have brought in a whole lot of things because I wanted to raw dog this bitch and not and just have to respond on the fly, but apparently I have to do a whole lot of things. Okay, we already went over April 28th, 2025. When did Cinder's doc come out? April 25th, 2025. So your clip in question already is debunked. Your video is nonsense. Everything you just spewed out there is total fabrications and lies.
Otherwise, she would have showed it. Instead, I am of the belief that
Yes,
Nano
she
isn't
is,
being
Cloud.
completely honest, at least to the public, and
You're not, so why do you care?
maybe to some of the girls about her own involvement in this. There is quite a lot of chunks missing from the 115 date where conversations are cut off from view. I do wonder, and perhaps you should also wonder, why we haven't been made privy to those.
I wonder what's going on in the Nanolist Discord and why she was talking about being sick all the time. Why didn't you share all those things? Why didn't you share all those responses? Why didn't you share all those contexts? I mean, you had all the screenshots. Why didn't you do that? Holding other people to an account that you yourself aren't standing to? That's a hypocrite right there.
I also do think, again, that it's kind of wild that she says that Red is the reason why all her models with others got canceled, when she again has admitted that she has health problems that probably contributed to some of her cancellations. There's just a lot of weird smoke. And while I can fully admit that I think it can go both ways off culpability, I just don't think I have proof right now to believe Nano on her words. Again, prove me wrong, but you really need to show more than just your word, thoughts, and feelings alone.
We also had Bao, we also had Silvervale, we also had the editor, we also had a lot of individuals that corroborated what was going on there. So why didn't you bring up any of those things? Why are you just focusing on analysts?
Screenshots and videos would be a massive help in swaying my opinion, but
I mean, you have screenshots in your video that you don't have any context for.
feelings and trust me bros with content creators I don't really watch or care too much about will not cut it for me. It can and probably was alright for the respective audiences, but it definitely isn't enough to the outside people they don't normally entertain.
No, it was pretty good for me. I don't watch a whole lot of, like, I watch a lot of Bao. I saw a little bit of Lily before the situation. I knew of her. I knew how big she was, but I watched more Bao than anything else. I watched a lot of Sinder, and then I saw the thing and was like, oh my god, you're a freaking awful human. You're freaking awful. Yeah. To the outside people looking in, they read through the documents and were like, yeah, this is pretty cut and dry. It's pretty simple and self-explanatory, but apparently you needed more. Apparently you were the smooth brain here that didn't realize what was going on.
At best, I've seen a lot of non-VTuber fans laughing at this situation and calling VTubers heavily immature and childish. When it comes to the exclusivity deal that Red made on Cinder's behalf, I personally think that this is a non-issue. Exclusivity deals between...
Wait, it's a non-issue even though you said it's not a standard and you had an issue with it. Holy shit, what the fuck? The exclusivity was a bad deal. The exclusivity was come to me. What the little fucking nut job?
Artists or even talents and talent management agencies are not a new thing. We could, for example, take the exclusivity deals that I've heard about in some of Mythic's contracts or other VTuber management agencies. It is there for a reason, and oftentimes it can be good if both parties agree to it. The issue I have with this exclusivity deal is honestly the reasoning behind it, or at least the perceived reason behind it.
Wait, so it's not a big deal, but there is a problem with it?
That being to keep some people from getting models from Nanoliths. I think we can agree that the way it was brought up was shitty, especially when it came to Silvervale, who in my personal opinion hasn't done anything.
So you just took both sides of the argument. Good for you, Oko. I don't even know what So who lied? Who lied?
To merit this kind of treatment. However, I have seen and heard some people talk about how exclusivity with artists is a horrible thing for the artist, and Sinder is evil for even suggesting it. That's retarded. Again, in her own words, Red told Nano he was planning on 4 models in 1 year alone, along with other art.
No, we are content 4 models. We don't even know what that is, and also that is not good money. And like we said earlier, it's the equivalent to saying, well, over in Vietnam, you know, like $10 is good or something like that. Yeah, this is a stupid thing. You need to back up a freaking truck. 40K is not enough.
Nano lives in Brazil, where the cost of living is between...
Oh my god, you're actually doing this entire argument. The 40K a year. That was going to be 40K a year. That's barely even higher than the cost of living.
$50,000 and $30,000 a USD a year. If she...
Are you taking into account all the funds that actually go into this, like all the process, all the things like there? Are you taking into account her own business dealings? You're just going off of what her TOS says. You're not even going off of like her actual like cost of goods, cost of living, her own standards of life. You're just assuming something right there. You don't even know her own personal finances. So in order to think that that 40K was good, yeah, you need to actually take a look at her own finances. You don't know that factor. In order to know that factor, you need to have a whole lot more information. So saying 40K is good over in Brazil for maybe an average person, but we don't know what her standards are.
She's making on the high end of that, she's making a good deal. I'll remind you, her models cost at bare minimum $10,000 each, with many different add-ons that go into the thousands itself. Provided there wasn't any drama attached to it, I personally think that Nano would have taken this deal.
There's no evidence to support that, and actually there's more evidence to the contrary that she was never okay with the deal. The doc itself says that she was never okay with the deal. Her response to Sinder shows that she was never okay with the deal. It made her feel disgusting and dirty. You're just assuming that she would. Like, you're taking into what the average is, but you're not taking into her living situation. Her debts, her finances, her situations, what she needs to pay off and all that stuff. That actually goes into why she would maybe go exclusive and how much money she is going to actually require there. You just saying, well, the average is 15 to 30K, so 40 is bigger numbers, so that means good, right? No, that doesn't actually mean that.
It's extremely lucrative and provides her with a solid paycheck for at least 1 year. Also, if we want to batch exclusivity deals and keeping things balanced, Bao should probably be canceled as well for having her editor go in-house with her.
No. 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 That is a complete mistranslation and removal of context of that situation right there. He came to her wanting exclusivity because he didn't want to edit for other people while he worked on his own projects. That was stated in his own document. The thing that you spent 3 months skimming over, obviously you fucking didn't. That is a different situation altogether. We are not going to say that these are the same things. These are apples and fucking oranges, you nutwad. Holy shit balls, what the literal fuck are you on about? These are completely different. You can't even act like these are the same situations. One is people going over there trying to get somebody to fucking work with them exclusively for 40K a year, which is only 10K more than the average standard of living within Brazil. We don't know what her standard of living is. We don't know what her requirements are. We don't know what her cost of living is. This one is, hey, I'm doing other stuff. I want to start building up my thing. I want to start doing this, and I can't do my thing while being an editor for a bunch of other people. Is it okay if I go exclusive for you? Work solely for you on these videos when you want me to, while I work on my other stuff to make my own name. Completely different. Those are apple and oranges. But hey, I mean, you're removing of context. That's how your whole video is.
Now, yes, that sounds extremely dumb, because it is. What people need to understand is that deals like this, without drama, are common. Way more than you might think.
No, these are apples and oranges. If you're trying to compare these two things, these are apples and oranges, you dumb fuck.
Especially in a field where good talent is highly sought after. You have to be quick and offer a lot of money in order to secure talent.
40K
Once again,
wasn't
we can
enough.
agree that blacklisting isn't good. I'm not going to fight you on that. But the idea that exclusivity is a bad thing? No, I don't think so. And if any of these girls
40K obviously wasn't enough.
think that, they should probably stop what they're doing and take a business class or two.
You've made an argument on exclusivity that doesn't even make sense. Like, nobody's freaking out over exclusivity. They're freaking out over the blacklisting. You're against straw manning. But hey, I mean, you're Mr. Good Faith over here.
When it comes to the slander or libel, like I said, I don't believe that Sinder herself was libeling or slandering those that she had grievances to. I do believe that she had, at various times, come to Red with her frustrations, as she has admitted to in her apology, and Red in turn took those private vents and used them to try and cause damage to other people. I personally would leave it up to a lawyer to say that, but I think it's a maybe, at least for some of them. Technically, when it came to Shy Lily, she admitted that she was dodging collabs and choosing not to reply to things. So in her case, it's not libel. That's just the truth. So here at the end of the video is where
Some rats? What was that? What I want to see. I want to read that last little bit.
so in her case, it's not libel. That's just the truth.
Some rats on things, stuff that didn't make it. Okay.
So here at the end of the video is where I was planning to leave some rats and speculations that I or some other people might have had. I'll go ahead and say right now that this area is a bunch of stuff that is either not true and I don't believe it, or I could believe it but have no proof, so I didn't include it in the main part of the video. Some of this stuff is stuff I've said before, and I formally offer retractions to me believing their validity due to the fact
I call bullshit.
that I don't have them as proof. We'll start with the one that I think a lot of people are kind of tired of hearing, and that being the mythic conspiracy.
The conspiracy that I 100% believe that you still believe. The conspiracy that you guys keep going on about in regards to Tectone and a bunch of other craziness, you guys fully ran with this weird conspiracy and are just now, after people started calling you just how retarded it sounded, saying we never believed it to begin with, or we had no real proof, or blah, blah, blah. No, you guys were retarded. You guys ran with a massive conspiracy that made zero sense.
This is one of the things I think I said early on for like 5 minutes until one of my
No, it was a whole lot longer.
friends brought me down to earth and told me that it doesn't work. Some people believe that the takedown of Sinder was somehow a massive conspiracy that was headed by Shy Lily and multiple other people that belong in the organization, such as Tectone, Muujin, or Rima somehow having a hand in this. I personally don't
You literally destroyed your friendship with Rima because you believed the mythic conspiracy. That was a fact. That's Rima's video. You guys destroyed that entire thing because of the mythic conspiracy.
now believe this as a fact. And while I do have some people who have given me info on Mythic, such as specific discords where people congregate and talk about stuff, there is nothing to suggest as such having happened. Just odd behaviors by some people. Oh, and maybe that one time I was told that there was more info that the public didn't have that was going to come out eventually. I even think there was someone who told me that Sinder was fired from Mythic because of this, which also isn't true, because I got confirmation from my same insider with the company that she left Mythic sometime in the previous year silently, and nobody really seems to know why. I think Anna Valens also had reported on this, and as far as I know, it's fake news.
If you're using anything Anna Valens said as fact, you're retarded.
Now, while I don't believe that the conspiracy that I just mentioned above, what I will mention is this. The people who reported on Sinder, I don't think that they were given direct marching orders from these people.
You did at one point in time. In fact, that was the whole premise of the Rima video. Actually, Rima, you actually believe that Rima is best friends with Shy Lily and Bao. That was that entire premise. That video is still up, by the way. Because she did a concert with them, you said that they're best friends and that she was protecting them. That was the whole fallout from the Rima video, and why you guys quit being friends with Rima was because you thought she was protecting them because of the Mythic deal. You're just now saying, well, I entertained it for 5 minutes, but because Rima's video popped off and people downvoted your video, you're now saying that you never believed it. Or you believed it for 5 minutes, but that was the whole premise of that video. That was the whole premise of why you disconnected with Rima and started attacking Rima. You can't be playing this game now, you fucker. You can't.
I do think they have massive incentives to tell stories a certain way, and I'm not really just talking about backroom favors. No, I think it goes far to just be a parrot for people in the company that you're aligned with. You don't need your boss to tell you to do it, but if you think he'll promote you or treat you better, you might do it.
You're retarded.
I've seen it in my meager security companies and once at a warehouse where I would see a guy who would often snitch on people and then tell his boss. So I can believe that some people would do the same thing here for the idea that they might get favors in return.
Okay,
I'm not going to
no
sit
proof.
here and spin this as absolute truth. But
Well, you tried to when it came to Rima, actually. Again, in your Rima video, you try to say that she's best friends with these people, but there's no actual proof of that. There's only her doing concerts with Nana Banana.
it is something that I thought of and will probably stop thinking of unless the people I'm thinking that might do this confirm or deny that it's happened. Spoiler alert, I know they're going to deny it, so it's probably just going to be a funny little thing that I thought of. One of the things I briefly mentioned in this video above, but didn't decide to include, is the talk of the Numi concert that took place around the same time of a collab between Shy Lily and Sinder for V-Card. This is one of those things that I feel after the fact was getting thrown around to paint Sinder as a horrible person even further. I personally feel that this was because the original accusations didn't really seem to stick too much in the first place.
No, that whole accusation was true. Even Newbie confirmed like that whole thing was fucked up and true. Like Newbie even talked about that. Like how last minute it was and how that whole situation played out. This whole thing is retarded.
But I do acknowledge that if the fact that Sinder had to cancel on Numi happened, it really does suck, and she should probably apologize for that.
No, that was more than it sucks. That was last minute. That was literally like the day before the concert. Bao had to overnight fly out to New York to be a part of the concert when she was dealing with her whole jaw thing. Numi talked about that. Dude, you don't even have any of the actual context. Your video's fucked.
If she hasn't already. Personally, that's one of the few topics I feel I have less knowledge on and would probably need a whole other video to talk about, but for this section, I'll just say this. There really is little information on it. Note to
Numi's entire video. Numi's entire video is on that whole topic. There's not little things. There's Numi's video discussing the situation. Then there's Shy Lily openly saying, you could have rescheduled the V-Card thing. That's what the evidence is. The people talking about that situation. There's little evidence. The people involved discussing how that went down and how fucked up it was.
DM leaks between Sinder and anyone in relation to this. Just a lot of people and they're recounting with little information shared. What I will say, however, is even if she didn't sing at the event, there is proof she was backstage. Bao has said herself in a video on her channel at this point here.
Especially when I'm nervous, and I was quite nervous. And Numi's just going around doing stuff, and all her friends are coming backstage. Junie, Matara, Vienna, Sinder.
It easily could have been that she just said her name. Or they were trying to ignore the fact that Sinder... They were trying to, like, obfuscate the fact that Sinder canceled last minute. You ever think of that? Or maybe Sinder was in New York and just canceled last minute, then showed up backstage. Like, you don't know the context to any of this. So you can't even say, like, well, I mean, we have questions. None of this makes sense.
Tara.
So while it sucks that she missed it to do a V-Card thing with Shy Lily, she was still kind of there. I don't know.
We don't even know if that's true or if they were just lying to say that, to save face. So we don't know. You can't even say that.
That's something that I kind of write off as I don't have enough info to judge on personally. I've seen people trying to blame both ends for the fuck up, and I personally feel like it could go either way.
No, it's one end.
During her stream about the drama, Shy Lily said a lot of catty things, and most of them deserve a single video in their own right. One of the things that she mentioned is that there is potentially more information that just hasn't come out yet. Funny enough, Rima Evenstar herself has also mentioned to me that there's things that haven't been made public yet that she was made privy to.
But there is also more receipts, verifiable receipts, that weren't added to the doc because either there are smaller things that just only really become a problem when added up, or they were a little too private to be shared. They contain information that people just don't want to publicly.
Wow, I think that's perfectly fine not to reveal. You know, like names, maybe face reveals, maybe shit like that. Yeah, maybe that's fine not to reveal. Just saying.
Have there, but it is kind of important for context, you know, so.
All I can deduce from all this, you know, like all that private information is Mama Oko wants to dox a whole bunch of VTubers. That's what I'm getting from this.
You pick and choose what you want to have up there. And so, for her to claim she has no knowledge when I know for a fact she does, but
All of it sucks, by the way. You pick and choose because there's private information. What are you willing to reveal? Names? actual names, like who they actually are, faces, things like that, like serious shit? Do you want to be revealing that, Oko? Because if so, go on ahead. You want to dox some VTubers. Let's go.
Have no proof other than hearsay.
To be honest, I find this quite shocking and insane that more damning info in this situation hasn't been made public. If
Could it have face reveals?
there is any more of a smoking gun on Cinder, why have you not included it then and only choose to try and include
Not to show information as it would disprove your whole argument / points. So that whole information though, like the thing is though, like when Shiloh says, hey, some of the stuff is just small, when added up, it equals something bigger, or some of the stuff has private information that we don't want out in public, you have to take that as at its face value. When they bring up the private information, the privacy information is so fucking important. The amount of shit there that you want out, don't ever be advocating it. You taking this stance as a VTuber is retarded. Clinical. We could be talking about actual town names. We could be talking about phone numbers. We could be talking about real email addresses. We could be talking about all sorts of crazy stuff that if got out there would destroy people's lives. They said no. She could have had poor choice of words or whatever. That doesn't really matter. She was going off. You just want to make a big deal out of it.
it later? It's either they're hiding something massive that would make this entire video in itself moot, or it's really not anything of substance and I feel like I've been lied to. Either way, it's very catty, and I expect that after this, when Shiloh does do her response stream saying I have a small PP for making this video...
You do have a small PP. I'm sorry, you just do. And you're assuming that she'll ever see this video. You're literally assuming she'll ever see this video. She'll probably never see this video, and if anything, she'll just go on her freaking her Twitch stream and go like, you're retarded.
All I will say to you, Shiloh, is where is the rest of the DMs? I might ask Nano the same question, but you, Lily, are the alleged helper that helped her put the doc together. Something that, if true, means that you cherry-picked what was put in. That does make me wonder what is missing. I didn't really include Spite in the main topic portion because most of her grievances seem to be focused around the fact that Cinder and Red allegedly complained about Spite to Nano in DMs.
No, most of her grievances was the fact that it very much looked like Cinder was trying to stifle Spite from growing whatsoever. It looked like she was basically stealing from Spite. It looked, I'm not going to say she 100% did, but it also, there was a lot of other things that were going on there that just didn't make any sense. By the way, shout out Kel. There was a countless amount of things that were going on there that just disprove all of your fucking arguments. Like, I don't even know what you're on about here.
I don't even think that she was owed a model from Nano. So besides her being bullied by the internet...
No, she was bullied by Cinder's community. She was bullied by Cinder. She was being shown off. She was showing evidence of Cinder trying to stifle her own growth. God damn. Again, removal of context, bitch.
For being slightly similar to Cinder...
Small PP energy. This is all we have is small PP energy from Oko.
I really don't understand what the main complaint is coming from. She does seem to hint that Cinder copies her. This is extremely retarded, and I think that it is completely meritless.
Do I have to pull up the Spite thing and show all the evidence? Because there's actually some strong evidence to support those claims. Especially when you have the whole Red knew about him and was trying to say that she was copying Cinder. There's actually tons of evidence to show off that Cinder was copying Red. So yeah, it looks kind of insane there. But you're just going to now downplay it all and say it's not a big deal. It's not a big deal. Even though when you actually look at the evidence, outside of maybe two things, I could say, yeah, it looks very fucking fucked up. And looks like she was actually stealing.
Although I'd have to ask Nanoist for the logs for that conversation. Either way, here's the date for the Cinder model reveal, and here's Spites. Bam.
Here's Spites 7/6/21. No, wait, no. We're talking about her 2.0 model, not her first model, her 2.0.
Cinder and Red allegedly complained about Spite to Nano in DMs. I don't even think that she was owed a model from Nano. So besides her being bullied by the internet for being slightly similar to Cinder, I really don't understand what the main complaint is coming from. She does seem to hint that Cinder copies her. This is extremely retarded, and I think that it is completely meritless. Although I'd have to ask Nanoist for the logs for that conversation.
I had to go
Either
back
way, here's the date.
Okay, August 17th, 2022.
For the Cinder model reveal, and here's Spites.
7/6/2021. So remember what was going on here? Remember what was going on here? They were saying that Spite was copying Cinder when it was looking like Cinder was copying Spite. Spite came out first, Cinder came out second. What the fuck?
Bam.
Final thoughts. Okay, so who lied? Who lied, chat? This is the important thing. They lied to us. Who lied? Where's the lie? Because the only person I'm seeing that's lying here is Oko.
To close out this already long video, let's first break down the crimes and who I think should be guilty. To start with crime number 1, I think we can say that there was zero slandering that took place. You could definitely make a
Nobody even cared about
case for liable in some cases when it came to Red talking to Nano, but definitely not for Sinder. We didn't see any of what she truly said to Red, and even still, Red is her partner. She should be allowed to vent or be a schizo with him in private. You could argue that he's probably not the best one to be like that with since he decided to act in this way, but regardless, if you want to get on—
What about the shit in regards to Bao? What about all the stuff that they said about Bao? You know, the fact that she stole our editor, she tried to steal our editor, she hated us, she wanted to do all this. Where's all that stuff about Bao? Wouldn't that be considered slander? Because that was factually inaccurate. This Oko Doko or whatever his name is, yeah.
On her for what she thought in confidence with Red, you might then have to prosecute every large content creator who has done pretty much the exact same thing with somebody that they know or trust in DMs as well.
Why are we even talking about prosecuting here? This is nonsense. It sounded like fucking Lily said they were slandering me. It was probably just her talking off the cuff. She wasn't even talking legally. You're just assuming it was legally because you're autistic. You know what? You're not even autistic. You're just an idiot. You're a retard. You're so stupid. It's insane.
Which, by the way, I'm pretty sure is all of them.
I'm pretty sure somebody has to help you breathe.
In fact, I know some of those creators personally and would hope that they're smart enough to look in their DMs and realize they really are no better. Otherwise, I would say that you could possibly make a case just for Red. For the exclusivity, we know that Red and Sinder wanted some form of exclusivity, and at the very least for Silvervale, Sinder did want her kept from a nanomodel. However, due to the lack of evidence, I really don't think that she tried to go after other creators out—
Because you refuse to include the Bao evidence. You actually refuse to include anything that regarded around Bao's nanomodel that got canceled. Why didn't you want to bring that factor up? You know, the model that Sinder knew about, Sinder saw, and then after all, everything ended up getting canceled by Nano. Yeah.
outside of her venting to her partner about them. I know some people may feel that could be the case, but in the matter of evidence, there really isn't any that I've seen.
No, there is some.
There
You're
is
just
evidence,
retarded.
however, for Red, so I would say that he is definitely guilty. In the matter of the value for Nano's work, we can see that yet again, it's mostly Red ascribing value to Nano's work.
No, Sinder did as well. Quit acting like it was mostly Red. We also know Sinder was a part of this.
Something that Sinder seems to somewhat agree with, yet admits
No, 100% agreed with.
in her apology that she also thinks that the way he brought it up is wrong. However, because of the evidence, I'm willing to believe that they both could be guilty of the same thing, just probably not in the same way.
I feel like you're retarded.
When it comes to the crime of Sinder knowing, I think overwhelmingly, based on the evidence that I've seen, that the answer is no for every—
There's no proof either for or against right now. Actually, there's more proof that she did know. You just don't want to include that proof. You went on this whole fucking nano doc. You only went off the nano doc. You really barely even touched anybody else's doc. Why didn't you bring up Bao's doc? Why? Why didn't you bring up anybody's comments on any of this stuff? You're trying to just throw it to the wayside. I could agree. You know what? The Spite doc isn't super important. That only really shows that she was bullying Spite. Silvervale's doc. Why didn't we talk about Silvervale's doc? Why didn't we talk about any of this stuff? If you're going to say that you just thought it was not important, you're insane. If you say the Bao shit wasn't important, you full-fledged discredit your entire video. In fact, I think your video is discredited right now, but you still haven't even told me who lied.
everyone except for Silvervale. I would say that she was mostly not privy to what Red was saying, especially considering the fact that he was a long-distance partner. I think this is just one of those things that will be hard to prove a negative on. You could—
The main thing also when it comes to the long distance partner, we don't know if they were still long distance. Remember, when the whole long distance partner thing, that came from the cheating guy back when they were all in college from, I want to say that was 2019 that was going down. We don't know if they were still long distance at this point in time in 2025. So him saying that it's long distance, we don't know if that's actually true yet still or not. We know that they went to parties all the time together. We know that they engaged with each other all the time. I'm willing to bet that they weren't still long distance. Sinder was the owner of Discord. Sinder was the owner of Discord, and she could easily see the past chat. Yeah, but well, it was not. It was also the disc. So they were singular logs. But the thing is, in order for Oko's thing to like manage, you would have to believe that they were still long distance. We actually have no evidence that they were still long distance. But at the same time, we have plenty of evidence to support that they were always at the hip with each other. There has been multiple people, not just the Buff Pup video, but multiple people came out and said that they were always at the hip. I can go to the, I want to say it was a Cinder video when they were talking about Bao's birthday, and when they went over to no, it was Numi's birthday when they went to Vegas. It was either Cinder video or a Numi video, but they went to Vegas together and they talked about Red being there. Red was always around in these interactions. People saw how they engaged with each other. So when they're talking about this, you need to take that you need to acknowledge that shit. These people knew who they were behind the scenes, but you don't want to acknowledge that shit. You're choosing to ignore that. But that is important context. That's character evidence to the people. That's character evidence. Okay? That's actual important shit there, but you don't know this because you don't even understand basic human interactions.
Could come out and just tell the world that she needs to release all of her correspondences with Red. That would definitely include about 5+ years of direct messages, phone calls, emails, and in-person exchanges if she recorded any of them. Yeah, that's quite a lot. And even then, if you had access to all of that, some people wouldn't even still believe her. But to be fair, she really doesn't have to prove any of this. It's on her accusers to show, which I don't think they have reasonably done thus far. It's so overburdensome that I don't think you could reasonably get an answer for this. However, what I will say is this. I don't think she knew, but I also believe that it is fair to say that she should take some form of responsibility for her manager. Red.
What about the Bao thing? I swear to God, are you not bringing up the Bao thing?
It wasn't just in charge of her personal life. He was her partner, albeit long distance. I won't sit here and say she should have fully known his character or what he could have done. I don't think anybody really knows what their partner is capable of unless they're...
That's retarded. And you don't have any proof to support your claims here. We actually have proof to the contrary.
Inside their head. I guess what I'm trying to say is that while she could have been blindsided by his behavior...
Mind you, these are the same people that went on and said that Straub should have 100% known what Rev was doing the entire time.
She should still apologize for her poor choice in managers. And again, this is why workplace romance is often banned and people get fired if it is discovered. This for situations like this. Now, with all of that out of the way, what should her punishment be? Well, I think in some ways she's already living in that punishment right now. She's been rooted out from the community that she is a part of, and many people in said community have no trust in Cinder and may never again because of this. I don't doubt that she's lost quite a bit of friends over this situation, and in some ways, at that point, I
Can we just fucking get to who the fuck lied? Because that's still the big question. Who lied?
kind of feel bad for her. I don't think I would wish this on anyone, whether you're the girls that were hurt or Cinder herself.
Agreed,
it's very obvious from reading her lackluster apology that she lived in a prison of a business mentality that led to toxic behaviors, some that I don't doubt was caused by Red himself and potentially her. I imagine that right now she is taking time to heal, looking for self-improvement, and probably helping her family finish that house that she mentioned being worked on before all of this blew up. Do I think that she should come back, though? Yes. I think that even if there's things that she should atone for, she's also doing that right now by staying away, by letting people heal, even if it's not all of her fault. And I think...
Well, right now she's mainly staying away because this... Again, this person who said, I understand basic human psychology. I understand all this stuff. I did research on all this stuff. The reason why she's staying away is to wait till the heat's down and because she knows it's a danger to come back right now. There's people that were in Cinder's Discord that have been reporting that, hey, she's starting to unlock certain rooms. We had the whole, the Cinder thing that, the Cinder donation. We had some of the stuff going on right now, so we know that she's about to come back. She's mainly just waiting for it to die down. She wants to see, she wants to test the waters, and I'm convinced that she might have some bots out there going around or some paid actors going around trying to say that, hey, it wasn't that big of a deal, it wasn't that big of a deal. I am mostly not accusing Elko of doing this. I've just been seeing a lot more individuals over on X trying to say that, oh, Cinder did nothing wrong, Cinder did nothing wrong, we want Cinder back, we want Cinder back. I've been seeing that a whole lot more. I'm not saying Elko's paid or anything like that, mind you. I'm not accusing him of doing this. This is just something I have been observing over on X right now, and it's pretty weird.
That is a good thing to do. I think that despite a lot of the things that have happened, people will still love her, and still will give her the time of day. She has lost followers, I won't doubt that. But I think that those followers will be regained once she returns down the road.
Probably not all of them. Actually, she'll have to gain new followers. Like this, unless, like these followers aren't coming back. She's lost so many people. You're not getting these people back. If your whole argument is, well, they've lost people now, but they'll come back when she's, back and doing her stuff. That's not actually even a factual statement right there. That's the same argument, Marvel, DC, and everybody else said when people leave. Oh, they'll come back eventually. No, there's a lot of people that just leave. They never come back. So to say that we're going to regain all our followers, no, after you have a massive controversy, it's nearly impossible to regain everybody that you lost. Chances are you're never going to get those people back. That's also basic business right there. Anybody understands that. Jesus Christ.
I think if I could impart any advice that she might potentially be able to hear in this video, don't fucking hire your future partner as your manager. I want to dedicate the end of this video to the massive amount of help I had when it came to assembling it. I will say that I was thinking about making this for quite a long time, and a lot of the time I spent thinking about it went towards archiving things and taking down notes of those said things from other people, so I want to make sure I give credit where it is deserved. I first wish to thank the personal revelation that I was able to receive from my God, as I believe that without his help and my own meditations to him, I would have been unable to make this video,
I don't really give a shit. Keep going forward. By the way, who the fuck lied?
period. The second person I wish to thank is one of my good friends, that being Mizu Tamari, as he was one of the
He's an insane, schizophrenic, nightmare individual who goes around crying about people making fun of him.
first people to look at this entire situation and say that something wasn't quite right, or that it was a nothing burger altogether.
Yeah, but it was a real thing. It wasn't a nothing burger, and it was a real thing, and he was completely wrong, and he's still wrong. You guys are all wrong. Like, who lied?
I do know that a lot of people view him as just another drama tuber, and oftentimes being quite
No, he's probably one of the most unhinged individuals I've ever seen on the internet.
stinky. And while I can agree that he is definitely stinky, he oftentimes ends up being right with his early analyses, so I tend to write down what he says, and once I feel like it is right to
Yeah, he wasn't right here, though. That's the thing. He ran with the mythic conspiracy as well.
say, I personally will try and share it with others. Another person I wished to thank during this entire process was the VTuber Powder, as she was one of the first people after the docs came out that decided to dedicate personal time to putting all of the DMs between Nano and Sinder in order. Along with that, she's also scrubbed the Bao and Shy Lily videos and added plenty of good commentary and timestamps for her thoughts. Her doc, where she has done all of this, will be included in the description if you wish to read it. It is also where I often turned to double check and make sure I wasn't going crazy in terms of the narrative that I saw being written, so I do deeply appreciate her.
I haven't actually gone over the Powder doc. It probably would be an interesting doc to go over. I see some of Powder's stuff online. Doesn't mean I agree with her just all the time. Like, I've seen stuff I disagree with, but okay, I'll see the Powder doc. I don't know much about Powder, but if this is like, if this video is anything to, like, if you're saying like her doc's similar to your video, then it's not a good doc. It's actually probably shit.
Work.
The people who bought Pyropup plushies, burned them, threw them in donations, and same for the merch are not coming back. Yeah, those people are never coming back.
Sparky's Tech Corner and Wiccanist are two people I wish to briefly mention as being helpers in finding information. Like Mizu, they are definitely both stinky and could learn to pick some of their fights better when it comes to talking to people on the internet. However, while I don't endorse everything that they do, I do thank them for the knowledge that they have presented, as I think I would have had a lot of trouble finding it.
Yeah, I've seen Sparky's Tech Corner. Actually, some of the Sparky stuff I do bring up. I disagree with him all the time. I think he's kind of schizo in his own regard. I don't know anything about this Wick guy.
Otherwise. Finally, one of the other biggest helps that I had in this is the collective efforts of the Under the Tea Discord server. When
Oh god, that Discord server. Let's go back to Rima's video on how bad that Discord server got.
asked, they delivered, by helping me collect all manner of evidence to pour through. I will admit that I've done my best to look through everything, listen to audio, take notes, and watch videos, and these guys deserve major props for putting stuff in the thread that I could sift through.
Yeah, that thread that you guys were never able to figure out how to actually see how many posts were on that thread. Jeremy, don't self-inflict any more brain damage on yourself with the Powder document. I might check out the Powder document. I might, but that might be for a different stream because I don't even think I'm going to be able to get into the other aspects of the stream. Like, fuck, I was going to make a video out of this. I'll try, but already, like, we're way over.
Along with that, I want to give a special thank you to the members who are on my YouTube channel. Making videos of this length take considerable amounts of time. I've spent weeks prepping, writing, and rewriting the script alone when I could have spent that time reacting to something else. It is through your guys' assistance and help alone that I am able to make videos like this and continue to make videos like this.
Wait, I'm gonna keep it going until like we get to this stuff. Where's the lies?
Yes, and for that, I do appreciate each and every single one of you that became members on my channel. In the description of this video, you will find a Google Drive with most, if not all, of the resources I ended up using for this video. That includes sources to the original doc, along with backups in case any of them decide to go down for whatever reason. I also have
That's again assuming something bad's gonna happen, so probably shouldn't do that.
archives of the videos I've used and will be doing my best to upload them in safe places to promote their longevity. I think, though, that that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video for today. If you did and you've made it here, please consider liking the video and becoming a member to the channel. This was a labor, but one that I enjoyed doing for the purpose of telling what I believe to be a
This was a labor and it really hurt me, and
more true telling of the
who
events.
lied?
So if you liked, like the video. And if you're a new sub to the channel, consider becoming a member so that you can support more long-form videos like this one. I'm already looking in the minds of my next major project, and once more information comes out, I'll be working on that one too. Until next time, though, you have yourself a good day, and go touch some grass.
So again, I asked the question, chat, who lied? Seriously, like, who the fuck lied? This whole video that you've been promising would change everybody's perspective on the Cinder shit was awful. Holy shit, where's the Bao document? Where's the Bao videos? Where's the Bao testimony? Where's any of that? That's nowhere to be seen in this video. You're only on Nanoliths. The Bao thing was important. Where's Cottontail's commentary? She also got blacklisted. Where's Silverveil's Cottontail? Where is all these people? There was so much information that came out. Where is it? This is an atrocious video. This didn't help anything. This only made everything worse. And the more I'm sitting here thinking about this is like, what the fuck? What the literal fuck is this? This is a grotesque video filled with inaccuracies, miscommunication, full-fledged hypocrisy of the highest, trying to say that Nano should post all these DMs while you yourself are posting out of context DMs or comments from her entire Discord, trying to paint her in a negative light when nothing there makes any sense. So you're trying to hold her to a standard that you yourself aren't going to be following. Honestly, I just feel sad for Cinder fans since they somehow actually believe this video and think she will come back with something, but in reality, I feel like it might not end well. So I do believe like Cinder will come back, but this video was atrocious, Juicebox. This is an insane video. Anybody that actually knows like the basic level of information from the actual Cinder situation knows like so much more context. This person doesn't even bring up any, like Oko doesn't bring up any of the context that's actually relevant, fully ignores it. And again, this moment, okay, this moment, I'm not gonna play it, but this, oh, not there. I think I exited out of it. That comes from a fucking Shy Lily video. That comes from a fucking Shy Lily thing, responding after the fact to the document. So when you're doing this whole, oh, is this a Freudian slip? No, because this is her talking about the Cinder document, Cinder's apology. Holy shit. If anybody's out here acting like Cinder, it's you, Oko. That is insane. That is full-fledged nightmare fuel. This is one of the most atrocious videos I've ever fucking seen. This should lead you to losing your entire YouTube career just because of how bad it is. And I'm not out here trying to say you should be canceled. No, just how awful it truly is. When you sit down and look at all the context for the entire situation, everything that you went through doesn't make sense. Where's Bao's doc? Where's Bao's commentary? Where is any of that? When you're trying to do the, well, Bao had an exclusivity with her editor, that editor went to Bao as evidenced by the editor's document. Where's that? Where's all the stuff that engaged with Silverveil? Where's Cottontail? Where is any of this shit? Where's the Bao model that got canceled because of everything that Cinder was doing behind the scenes? Where's any of that shit? It's not there in the video because this video is garbage, not even fit to wipe my fucking ass with. Holy shit balls. I've never seen a more atrocious video in my entire life. And I've seen some bad fucking videos, guys. I like to skim the whole drama sectors and everything like that and see just how bad videos can get. This is on par with some of the worst videos I've ever seen. Actually, I think it is the worst video I've ever fucking seen because it's so manipulative and bad fucking faith. Mind you, again, who lied? Who lied? Your video's titled, They Lied, so where's the lie? Where is it? Because I ain't seeing it anywhere. I'm amazed. I'm really amazed. And I ended that recording. I have to edit. I have to throw those two things together, but that'll just be boop boop. That's going to be a long video to render and upload, but I'm just going to do it. I'm shocked at how bad this is. Like, I'm seriously shocked with how atrocious of a video that was. You make better lies than a drunken stupor? I do. I lied when I said I liked you that one time. Oh, Adam, I know you're my bestest best friend ever. It's okay. You can say you lied. Like, seriously, the fact that I know a bunch of people that actually stream with Oko. I'm shocked. I'm shocked anybody streams with Oko. Like, legitimately. I'm shocked that anybody actually listens to Oko and thinks that Oko says anything factual or real at this point in time. Because that video, if you actually know the Sinder drama, this video is a pile of fucking trash. It's no different than that Rima video. And I'm always going to comment on like Rima's video on Mama Oko and Mizu. I'm always going to bring up those two in particular. You want to know why I'm bringing up that video? It's because that video shows just how bad faith they are. Shows how manipulative they are. And it's now a fucking video that I'm gonna have to clip out, you know, my reaction to it because it's so fucking bad. I lied about not having done my homework in solidarity with my friends. I'm fucking amazed. I'm amazed. I'm so fucking amazed. I have chat, okay? Fuck. How long is that? 2 of 6. That's gonna take too long. I've already been streaming now for almost 4 hours. I want to do the Saruei stuff. I need to get with Adam. Did you okay doing what game was it? Are we doing shite? Where are we doing Warcraft tomorrow? Fuck. I think we're doing Warcraft tomorrow, so I need to do it. I need to do thing. Oh, yes. I need to get Warcraft fucking whatever. Yeah, we're doing that tomorrow. Space Marines, god damn it. By the way, Kickbot. Thank you, Legatus. We're doing Space Marine 2s. You need a game break. Yeah. But it's also, I have another story. Warcraft, Adam was able to at least understand where I was going with that. I have another situation because I have updates to something that I was covering, and I have 2 other things. I'm not going to be able to hit it tonight, so I'm going to have to save those for another time. Yeah, I know, Static, but Alf kept, you know, Alf literally just kept being... I need to play with Alf. I need to do it once. He bought the game for me. I have to do it, and I know what's in store for me, so I have to do it. I'm not trying to be like Alf's forcing me. It's like, he bought the game for me. I kind of have to do it. Okay, I kind of have to do it. And I'm curious to play something. And Adam's right, I do need a game break. Like, fuck. That video. And the reason why I'm saying that video. Let me see. Can I? No, that's not it. I'm trying to see. Did I exit out of the video? I think I did. I did exit. Fuck. No, it's right here. I'm pulling this up for a reason. I'm gonna have to watch this. 3 fucking hours. 3 hours. 3 fucking hours. Holy shit. Okay, this went live 7 hours ago. What the literal fuck? 4 hours ago. After this video, Oko did a Q&A stream. Oko did a fucking Q&A stream. I don't want to do that. I will say though, okay, because I'm gonna have to move some of the stuff around. For those of you who are watching, come by Saturday because I'm gonna hit all these things again on Saturday. I'm gonna bookmark everything I have now. If there's new shit that comes out, obviously I tackle it. I can't tackle these things on Ballbusters because I mean the guys don't really care about this stuff on Ballbusters. I care about it, but I'm tackling it. But like the things that we're gonna cover is Saruei has responded yet again to the DMCA stuff, and there's some really interesting things going on there. I might try to throw that in towards the end of Space Marine 2 tomorrow. Like after the fact, I might quickly try to hit that, turn that into the video, and pop that puppy out. But I got some other things like I got an update on the Filion getting canceled thing, because these people are nut jobs and deranged. There's so much cool shit to go over right now. You care about it because you're gay. Oh, good for you, Cloud. Saruei. Yeah, I'm never gonna be able to say her name, bro. I've tried multiple times. We only do Space Marine 2 for 2 hours. Yeah, I can hit some of the stuff after the fact. Like Saruei. I'm trying. I'm going to try to hit that one tomorrow after the fact, just so I can go like, hey, I'm going to do this real quick, record it, put it out. But if you guys liked this stream, please give me a thumbs up. By the way, I promised Saruei. I'm trying, bro. I'm trying. But for those of you that watch the stream all the way through, I promised you guys this. In fact, I'm happy I promised you guys this, because I said this was gonna happen. Okay? I bet you guys well, I didn't bet you money, but I bet you guys. I didn't expect it to be this bad, but they didn't bring up the Buff Pup video that disproves like the relationship dynamics and the fact that they would have known. So because of that, I'm coming over here. Obviously, I have it up on right here. I'm gonna pause this. You guys don't need to care. Actually, I can't do this here. Can't show you guys that, I think. Membership gift. There we go. 5 free members. 5 free members for everybody that's stuck around this long. Hopefully you get one, guys. Hopefully you get one, because holy shit. Holy shit balls. That was a thing. And nobody got one that's in the chat right now. So you know what? Fuck it. You guys helped out so much. Here's my next 5. I get 10 free each month. Here's my next 5. There you guys go. Hopefully somebody in the chat gets it. Hopefully. Mo's not here. Selena. Well, that's fucking disheartening. None of the people I was hoping to get it got it. Well, that's disheartening. That's disheartening. Anyways, though, guys, thank you so much for did it again. LOL. Yeah, it went to everybody else who's not in the chat. Maybe we should start doing this whole thing of like, hey, YouTube, prioritize the people that's in the chat. If everybody's a member in the chat, then we go out to everybody else. Maybe we should start prioritizing it like that. Just saying. But anyways, guys, thank you all for being here. Obviously, I'm going to try to hit some of the stuff after the fact tomorrow, but it is what it is right now. To be fair, one topic I don't think... I'll touch this one before I go. I'm not making this a video. I'm not going to go too deep into detail on this. But I saw this yesterday. I kind of know what's going on. And all I want to say, if somebody clips this out and sends this, I have no problem with that after all. But from Sweet Bear, if people can they please go give Zentreya the love and support she needs? I can't hold a stable internet, and she doesn't even know me, but any of her friends. I saw Heavenly Father, who is being a goat and trying his best, but if anyone can get any other friends to keep checking on her, please do. It's heartbreaking to see Oshi the geckos and all her friends care so much about you, honey. I'm bringing this up because apparently yesterday, Zentreya got pretty damn dark on a stream she did, like super dark. And I'm not trying to like drama farm or anything like this. I understand why. I think there's some. She basically quit being friends with like her best friend, and it got really, really, really bad and dark and fucked up. And all I gotta say is, again, if somebody does clip this out and sends it to the internet, I don't give a crap, because I'm gonna just say I like Zentreya clips. I like watching Zentreya when I can. She's always been super entertaining to me, even though she talks through a TTS. She's been going through a fucking hell of a time. There's a lot of shit that's just fucked up in her life right now, and to see like the fallout between her and her literal best friend, it's obviously tearing her apart, and I feel for her, and I wish nothing but good luck in the future and that she gets through this, because some of the things I was hearing her talk about, that's dark. It got really dark, like really fucked up, and that's not good. I haven't seen like any of the clips, and I'm scared to see the clips. I haven't seen anybody try to clip it, but it is what it is. I don't know what else to say. I hope you seek help, and substance abuse is a bitch. But on that note, I do need to give us something funny, because I do have something funny. Okay, again, don't clip these out. Before I leave, I try to leave us at least on somewhat of a high note. I did see a thing. Okay, no, that's history. I don't want history. No, actually, shorts. Okay, to leave us out on a high note though, I introduced us to Froggy yesterday. I showed us who Froggy was yesterday. I saw this short. Okay, you're gonna love this short.
Mexico is not a part of North America. Shut up, Pikmin. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry. I really didn't mean that. I'm so sorry.
Froggy?
I'm sorry. I got really aggressive. I'm sorry.
Froggy, where do you think Mexico is?
Yeah, where do you think Mexico is?
It's in South America.
Yeah, but
Froggy?
South America.
It's gonna get so good.
No.
Yeah, because Canada is North America, right?
Frog.
So I want you guys to do me a favor.
Yeah, what's up?
So the three countries stacked on top of each other here: Canada, USA, Mexico.
Right, North America?
No, you have North America is Canada, Central America is America,
What do the
and then
beginning of each letter spell out of each country?
Froggy. Canada? Oh, you fucking little shit.
Just
Came
hit
across
us.
in my life.
Are we really just gonna gloss over the fact that Froggy doesn't know what North America is?
Hold on.
I love this shit. I love Froggy. I love her. She's a national treasure. I have more clips, guys. I have more.
Did Zed just hit us with the 18 plus ICUP gang?
Froggy, we're not gonna excuse the fact that you don't know where the Mexico is.
It's South America because America is Central America and the Canada is
Froggy?
North America.
No.
North America, the continent!
North
North
America
America?
continent.
North America is a continent, Froggy, and that's combining Canada, USA.
What's the third one, Froggy? What's the third one, Froggy?
What's the third one,
Hold
Froggy?
on, Wikipedia, North
What's-
America. North America is a continent in the northern and western hemisphere. North America is bordered to the north by the Arctic Ocean. Yeah, blah blah blah. Words. This region it includes the Bahamas. Let's go.
Keep reading. Keep reading.
Keep reading.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay,
Keep
the
reading.
Bahamas, Bermuda. Let's go. Canada. Let's go. The Caribbean. Let's go. Central America, Clipperton Island, Greenland, Mexico.
I love this shit. Froggy's a national treasure. Froggy's a national treasure. I don't give a shit if she's insane, okay? I don't give a shit. I don't give a shit if she's a lefty nut job, whatever. She's a treasure, and we need to protect her. We need to protect her. We need more Froggy in our life. 'Cause Mexico's not a part of North America. Reads the list, goes like next. Just a pause. I saw this today and I was like, God damn, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. This is pure gold. And the greatest part about Froggy Lock is everything you're getting from her is genuine. That's just her. That's just her full on. That is Froggy full-fledged, just going on a Froggy raid, just doing Froggy shit. I had another one. I shouldn't play this one. I shouldn't play this one, but it was so fucking funny. It was so funny because it's just unhinged Froggy. No, I shouldn't play this. I shouldn't play this. I love Froggy. I love Froggy so much. But anyways, guys, thank you all for coming by. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for participating today. You all are fantastic people. You all are just the reason I like doing this, even though Cloud's in the chat. And until next time, she reminds me of my dude. I fucking love Fabled. I love her. I love Froggy. I can't get enough Froggy. There was a Monday, I was trying to gather stuff up for the stream on Tuesday, and I'm like doing stuff. I'm doing so much. I open up YouTube. I have a very specific video I need to go grab, and I see a Froggy Lock thing, and I just click on it. I just clicked on it. Devil makes you a sandwich. I can't raid into Devil. That's the problem. I need to set up a raid. I can't raid into Devil because Devil doesn't set up the raids correctly. We've told him to do it multiple times, but he doesn't do it correctly, so I can't raid into him. So let me see. Who are we gonna raid? Who are we gonna raid? Who are we gonna raid? Fuck it. We're raiding them. We are raiding them. But until next time, guys, you all have a lovely... Actually, can I raid? Let me see something. Let me see a thing. 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 I don't know how to raid over here. I'm trying to see if I can also make sure I raid on Kick, but I don't remember how to raid on Kick. And I don't think I can raid. I can raid on Twitch. I can go raid on Twitch. We can raid into... I don't know who to raid into on Twitch, so let's just not. Anyways, though, you guys all have a lovely night wherever it is that you guys are, and bye for now.